Hello, AJ. What are you doing? How's it going?
Well, at the minute, I'm just going through the scores on the doors from last week.
You haven't had a chance to do it yet yourself, personally.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I called 3 of the results as draws, and draws, I think they have become.
Oh, wow,
actually,
that's amazing. I've not really looked at mine, but
why do we do this?
We went pretty much head to because the audience want to know what we think.
And
they hold it against us as well, because if we say they're going to lose and they win, they go, ha ha!
You were wrong.
I felt like Alan Partridge there. So, yeah, I mean, listen, interesting week. I've devised a system with a few people, how to find out, when you see some of the pseudonyms on Twitter and Facebook, a way of devising who is and isn't. Listen, you're going to be on the show. If you say a word now, you'll actually be on the show. So Rowena's just popped in with a lovely cup of tea for me. Thank you.
Coffee.
Oh, AJ's having a coffee.
Yeah, very weak one with lots of milk. Thank you, honey.
Yeah. Sounds like he needs one. It's got to that time of the night where he needs it. Oh, listen, we've heard your voice for the first time on the show.
We will have her in as a guest panellist one day.
Yeah, definitely.
God bless her.
So I've devised a way of finding out who an alias or a keyboard warrior is.
Really?
Through a process of elimination on... so looking at Twitter as a particular sort of social media.
Yeah.
So out of... I was given 20 names.
Okay.
And I was given... I was given 20 names and 10 posts.
Okay.
That were made by 10 of those people, but with different names.
Right.
Are you with me so far?
With you so far.
Yeah.
Just.
So what I did is, I aligned all 10 people up to the aliases.
Right.
Do you get where I'm coming from here?
Just about.
So now I'm going to reveal, for the very first time on the show, that I know who Lego Man Head is.
Okay. Also known as Stormport. Yeah, I've heard.
Is he Stormport?
Yeah. They're sort of the both names that come up on there. Yeah. Okay.
And I was.
You know who he is.
I wasn't surprised, but listen, this was a bit of extra sort of curriculum.
Extracurricular activity.
Curricular activity, because he wasn't part of the study. But I just thought I'll try and study to see whether I can recognise who this is. And I'm 100% certain I know who Lego Man Head is. And I'm not going to reveal it on the show because it would be unfair on him.
Is there anything fair on social media these days?
No, there isn't. But you know what? One day I might just do that and might reveal who he is.
Okay.
I will have people quaking in their shoes knowing that using a little bit of science and a little bit of software, I can find out, without the interference of Interpol, MI5 or MI6, who is trolling me. Just be warned.
All right, okay.
Yeah, just thought that was an interesting one.
Thought that was an interesting one there. So you've actually uncovered the secret to alias uncovering. It's a bit like Scooby-Doo, isn't it? You're pulling the mask off the...
Well, I'm not the first person to do it.
No, I'm not surprised.
Like I say, there are ways of finding out who these people are.
Uh-huh.
What I've done is I've revealed a way, or I've found a way of doing it legally, but it's very, very dangerous. In the wrong hands, this information is really, really dangerous. Particularly dangerous to those that are involved in being a keyboard warrior. So be warned, keyboard warriors, we're all onto you.
You are not safe in your mum's spare room.
No, you're certainly not. You have to take your dark-rimmed black spectacles off.
Or even your rose-tinted ones.
And your rose-tinted ones.
Absolutely.
But it just really found it interesting because...
It's very interesting.
Because when... what was it? He describes himself as Ben Barnes's...
Agent,
goalkeeper coach, and he often refers to me and says, Frank sacked me, bin me off, and what have you, because I tried to arrange a friendly with another football club.
Yeah. He was asking me about that one. He was saying, tell Frank to unblock me from Twitter. So, mate, you're going to have to do that by yourself.
But, I mean, he's actually assuming that it was me that blocked him. And to be fair, I don't think it did.
I think we might need a mediation between you and Lego Manhead.
Well, now that I know that who he is, he might want to speak to me privately, so we don't take this any further.
Maybe.
It's nice to have somebody a little bit controversial, but somebody quaking in the boots as well. Because I'd be worried if I was going around pretending to be somebody else.
Being a you-know-what.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think.
And every now and then he puts his different profile pictures
yes,
up.
he does.
I think he's now Darren Till.
Oh, he might be.
And he obviously doesn't like them. Or him.
No.
But another one. So I just thought it was a really... I've been working on this now for the past 5 years with a group of people.
Have you?
Yeah. I know, it's sad really, isn't it?
That's absolutely nuts.
But yet the idea was that if I perfected a way of doing it, I could use it for financial gain.
Okay.
But, like I say, it's a dangerous route to go down.
It is. You could also be a police informant, except everyone knows who you are.
I know, yeah. I've just revealed myself.
West Lancashire's most wanted, and here you are, just
the grass
rattling. Yeah, exactly, the grass.
Frank the
grass.
sort of blends in well with football, really, doesn't
exactly.
it?
Yes, the Cray twins, Mad Charlie, Frank the Grass, and Billy the Pigeon.
Even better one.
Now check yourselves. See if those were real West End gangsters, and who of those were Bob Mortimer's friends from Would I Lie to You?
Yeah. The thing is, you don't want to go too far with this because you could really find out. I mean, for argument's sake, I could have found out it was the wife.
I mean, that would have led to something a whole lot more different than just asking him to come in for a mediation. I don't think we'd be doing the show in this house right now.
Well, the one thing you can do from this is you can become very upset because when you do find out who these particular people are, it can be quite upsetting because a lot of the time these people that speak to you face to face are your friends.
Yeah, they are. They
or pretend to be your friends, but then we know that behind the security of a keyboard, then they're totally something else altogether. So what have you been up to? I know you did your mini triathlon yesterday, and you broke your record by 4 minutes something.
I did, yeah. So
good time to shave
in
off.
preparation for the Ironman, I did do a small sprint triathlon up in Cape which is just by Carnforth, south of the Lakes.
Another place, yeah.
So,
it's a tough landscape.
It is a very tough landscape, very, very hilly. The swim is in a filled out quarry that still has some
boulders, rocks,
cars. Yeah, cars and tanks
and shopping trolleys
all of because they do they do scuba diving there as well. So you have the scuba divers going down there.
I take it they found a safe route for you to swim across.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. On the surface.
How cold was it? It's basically a quarry, really, isn't it?
It is a quarry. Yeah.
So what is it cold?
Yeah. It was quite cold, now, the rain was out and about in a Vengeance yesterday, so I was already quite wet when I even got there, and then as I got into the water, I sort of went, ooh, it's a bit cold. And then just after that, you kind of just get over it, really. Once you've submerged for the first time, you're just thinking, okay, let's just get on with it now.
So what do you go head first so you get it all over splash and then that's it then?
Basically.
Shiver for a little bit and then get on with it.
Yeah, exactly.
How far was it across the water?
So it was 500 metres all told.
500 metres, so basically just under a third of a mile?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
So you've got to, in the proper competition, the Ironman itself, you've got to do a mile, is it? 2 miles? Yeah. Crikey. So what did it feel like doing 500 metres? Does it make you worry about doing 2?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Because the wetsuit felt very restrictive. I felt like I couldn't catch my breath properly. Crikey, I got really quite dizzy occasionally, and there was a point where I was trying to go out of the water up the ramp, and I was headed straight for it, and then all of a sudden just started curving away from it and swimming towards the spectators jetty, and I had to stick my head up and go, ooh, redirect, and then I had to kind of shake off the dizziness and fit myself to my bike before setting off on that. So that was.
So on the mini triathlon, how many miles on the bike?
It's 17 kilometres, so it's about eight,
10 miles,
10 miles, give or take. Yeah, it's about 10 miles, give or take. Very hilly, as well as a lot of hills going up. A few going down, but yeah, a lot going up. I found that the most difficult. Like the cycling is obviously that's the longest part of
Cycling is probably the most unnatural sort of sport of all of them, isn't it? Really, in terms of, I mean, when you look at the Tour de France bike riders, their legs are like tree trunks, aren't
yeah,
they?
they're enormous. Yeah, Chris Hoy can quite comfortably squat 400 kilos on his good days. Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
But quite unnatural, actually.
Yeah.
Pedaling a bike uphill, isn't it?
It is.
The resistance is enormous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's insane. Ironically enough, it's gravity working against you, so your legs are doing this.
Yeah, and they want to push you back.
Yeah, exactly. And want to push you back. But I managed up most of the hills without an issue. But I still feel like I need to put more in the tank before the actual day itself.
Which remind me is?
The 21st of September.
21st of September. The day after James's birthday, when I also go on holiday to York as well. So how far was the run?
5k.
5k, not too bad.
Not at all.
That loosened you up a little bit after
that.
that.
A lot. I
so that's the final stage, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Running's easily my strongest suit, so I absolutely powered through that one, and I didn't really feel the effects of it straight afterwards. And then I was on the bike this morning, just doing half an hour, to flush the legs out. So enjoyed myself.
I found that really fascinating. And listen, best of luck. We'll talk about that before you actually go on it. But I think in the meantime, we should get on with the show.
I think we should. We're running late enough as it is.
Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly Football Show. I'm Frank Hughes, the chairman of Skelmersdale United Football Club, and alongside me is my co-host and passionate press officer, AJ Vergette. Not that being involved with the football club is a prerequisite for hosting a football podcast, but it certainly helps. We are ready to dive headfirst into the vibrant world of non-league football in the Northwest, and we might even take a moment to discuss some of the bigger headlines in the sport. We'll explore life in the Northwest counties, bring you interviews with well-known faces in the league, and analyse how local teams are performing while making bold predictions for their upcoming matches. Nothing is off the limits here. We'll be diving into all kinds of topics, including complicated refereeing decisions and regulations that often leave fans perplexed. We want to hear from you too. This is your show, so don't hesitate to reach out with topics you want us to tackle. Let's get this conversation started and enjoy every single moment. We are speaking frankly. Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly Football Show. This is episode 9 of season 2, and a warm welcome to the particular dulcet tones of AJ Vergette.
Oh, hello.
Hello there.
Dulcet tones as it is. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in to yet another episode of the Speaking Frankly Football Show. They've not kicked us off the airwaves yet, but we're still waiting for a record label to come along, sign us and give us a load of money. As it is, we'll keep broadcasting from here until then. Coming up on the show, we're going to be looking at the final stages of the transfer window in the Premier League. We're going to be checking in on Man United and Bayer Leverkusen, and then to the non-league that we all know and love, York City, and then the Northwest counties with the Atherton derby between LR and Collieries, a focal point of discussion. Nelson, Glossop, Daisy Hill, and Marine and Southport, all the favourites, are coming in for discussion. And then in the second part of the show, we've got Michael Clegg, the manager of Atherton Collieries. He's going to be speaking to Frank. And then, as usual, Skem United predictions, fixtures, and the expert analysis. But first...
First, the transfer window, the Premier League transfer window was broken, absolutely smashed through the 3 billion Barrier, the highest ever. Unbelievably. Well, I say unbelievably, it's not unbelievable any longer, is it? There's no common sense where the Premier League transfer window is. It'd be interesting to see whether they get anywhere near that in January. January's normally a smaller market.
It is a skint month, isn't it, really? I mean, we're all skint, to be honest. It's Christmas has absolutely done the finances on us, so we are tightening the proverbial belts at the start of the year, aren't we?
Well, you do feel as though you should tighten the belt a little bit when you look at the fact that they've spent £3 billion in the transfer market. You actually feel as though you should be a little bit more careful with your own money.
Well, this is true.
But listen, we're looking at the winners and losers. I think Liverpool's expenditure now, when you look at it, is what? It's almost 1/6 of the total transfer.
Outlay, it was 420 million, give or take.
Amazing, really. And Liverpool fans are very well vocal about.
They are understandably delighted, aren't they?
Well, they are, but they're also the biggest critics because they always go on record as saying oil clubs are ruining football. Now they're not an oil club, but are they ruining football?
Interesting notion. Did they need to spend that much? I mean, I understand that there were a couple of players who wanted away. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold and Luis Diaz were probably inevitably going to go. But then, they've lost other players as well. Darwin Núñez, Harvey Elliott, they've all gone.
Elliott's still there, isn't he?
No, Harvey Elliott.
He
went. He's gone on loan to Liverpool to Aston Villa for the season. Which makes a bit of sense, but for Liverpool to kind of gone on the foray that they have, I don't see where it puts all the formalities on the league. I've no doubt that they'll win it. Was it excessive though?
Do you think they'll win it just based off the business they've done in the transfer? I think the other thing to look at is that they've won the league. They've got to win they've got to win the Champions League next, haven't they?
Yeah.
To justify the expenditure. But are they under pressure to do that because the money that's involved you can't afford to take a risk and end up finishing outside the top four?
No.
Because Manchester City could have very easily done that last term.
Yeah, they could have done.
Manchester United did.
Well, yeah, they did. We finished 15th. And got to the Europa League final and then still lost it. So we did put all our eggs into one basket there, but at the end of it all, we didn't. We came up trumps.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But you look at Liverpool's expenditure there now, and you look at the Premier League record deals. They broke it twice.
Yes, they did.
Because the original top record deal was for Bruno Fernandes, which was 103 million.
Bruno Fernandes.
Have I got the wrong person here?
I think you have. Bruno Fernandes was United and it only cost 47.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got a Fernandes here.
Enzo Fernandes.
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Oh, I feel really, really stupid there. Should I backtrack here a little bit and delete this bit?
It's up to you.
No, well, listen. Okay, but the point was... Fernandes was... When was this?
Enzo Fernandes came in the summer of... January 2023 he came in.
So, okay, I'm right in saying that Liverpool with their appointments of Isak and Wirtz, is it?
Florian Wirtz, yeah.
Florian Wirtz. So they broke the transfer window record in 2 goes.
Yes, they did.
In 2 years.
And
so that's amazing.
If you look down a little bit further down the list, you'll notice Hugo Ekitike in there as well, who also was signed by Liverpool in this transfer window.
Yeah, it says £82 million there, but then when you look back on the other expenditure records, it says he cost 69 million. Is that a total fee, including add-ons?
It might very well be, yeah. Because Wirtz's isn't the same either. Wirtz's is coming out at 116.5, so it must be add-ons as well. But still, that's an enormous outlay. I've never seen anything like it. It's 7 players for £415 million.
Yeah.
It's just it's stunning. And if Liverpool don't win.
Well, there'll be a lot of questions to answer.
Yeah, if they don't win the league and they don't challenge on all fronts, particularly now that they have the depth as well as the talent, And all the talent seem to have hit the ground running. Ekatike started off with goals in his opening couple of games. We know what Isak can do in the in the league. We know for the same for Kerkez what he can do. Frimpong looked brilliant at Leverkusen. I mean, questions are still surrounding Wirtz, but I think he'll get there in the end. So they've got strength in numbers and strength in depth. So the only other team that I can see to be really challenging them, only on the European scene, is PSG. Other than that, I don't think there's anybody to challenge them in the league. I think they'll walk it.
Yeah.
Genuinely, yeah.
Definitely. So who would you say were the biggest losers? Obviously Newcastle, they've lost the prized asset. They have strengthened a little bit, but arguably the replacements, the consensus opinion is that they can't really replace Isak.
Well, everybody says that when they lose. But I remember when Tottenham lost Harry Kane and they had no idea where the goals were going to come from. And, they just about made it up with Son Heung-min. James Maddison's chipped in with a few. You even had high-scoring defenders in there like Pedro Porro and Mickey van der Ven. The goals, as far as Tottenham are concerned, were coming in from all angles. Brennan Johnson was scoring goals as well. So these losses, they might seem enormous, but they get covered. And as far as biggest losers in the transfer market, I don't think Newcastle were the biggest ones. They were touted to bring in a load of players, and I think ended up only bringing in, a couple, and only really one that we knew was going to happen, which was Johan Wiese. But the biggest losers for me were Aston Villa. Aston Villa have brought in players.
I was going to mention Aston Villa. It's obviously not on our notes here, but yeah,
they spent £30 million at this transfer window, but they've had to bring in players on the loan market, and they've sold another of their homegrown talents in Leon Bailey. Leon Bailey's signed for Newcastle, and they've not quite covered the gaps. Left by players like Marco Asensio, or even Douglas Luiz, to be honest. And there are people still sniffing around their talent box. I know Morgan Rogers, is a player touted for the future. I know questions have been asked about the availability of Ollie Watkins, and Emi Martinez wants out of the club already now. So I think it could very well be tough for Aston Villa at this point.
It is. They're certainly second from bottom now. They've got 1 point out of 3 games.
Yep.
They're not scoring goals.
Nope.
And most notably, Ollie Watkins as well is not.
Ollie Watkins is drying up. Yeah,
he's dried up at the moment, so it's
a
bit of a worry for them. But
yes.
We'll come to Manchester United in a minute. But Everton surprisingly quiet on the last day. Do you think they'd already done enough business? I don't think so. I think they still need 2 or 3 players to get a more balanced team. I don't think they've got their ideal centre forward either. I don't think Beto or Barry are quite good enough. I think out of the 2, Beto's probably the most improved.
Yeah, I mean Beto
Barry is sort of
work in progress.
Work in progress.
Yeah. I mean Beto had that good spell when Moyes first came back to the club. And he scored a handful of goals there that proved to be quite vital. But I think you've got to look at Everton as a bit more of a long-term thing. That being said, I think the signing of Jack Grealish is going to be absolute table turner.
What do you think of? Do you know much about Merlin Roll?
I don't, to be honest. Where's he coming from?
Too sure. The German club is it? But is it Werder Bremen? Yeah, I think possibly I might have that wrong, but he's an attacking midfielder. I wonder whether he fits in that starting 11.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, if he can, I think he's a centre mid. So you'd likely put him in alongside James Garner, wouldn't you? As an Everton fan, that's probably where he'd go. You've got your man in the middle who's not getting any younger. He's been there for ages. What's his name? Not Diane.
Gay.
Could be Gay. Yeah.
Garner.
No, Gay.
Garner Gay. What's his name?
Garner. Idrissa Gay.
Idrissa Gay. Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, he's not getting any younger. And I feel like this guy's probably a bit of a like for like replacement. So I think they probably have got a bit of business to do in January, but I think Moyes might just have enough to get by for now. But I think if you're an Everton fan, don't have any big ambitions, really.
No, I said top 11 were doing well.
Yeah.
Well, listen, your team, I'll let you talk about them.
Yeah,
let you start off with Manchester United.
Yeah, United probably had one of the bigger, maybe even the second biggest transfer window after Liverpool. The outlay being over 200 million on 4 or 5 quality
pocket
signings.
Money compared to Liverpool, I thought.
Well, yeah, exactly. Half the amount. So we signed Brian Mbeumo from Brentford, Mateus Cunha from Wolves, Diego Leon came in under the radar from Cerro Porteño, and Benjamin Sesko, the much lauded striker from RB Leipzig, he came in. And then on the last day, Sene Lammens, the goalkeeper, come in from Royal Antwerp in the Belgian league. So reasonably good outlay. I think Mbeumo certainly looked the part in his first handful of games. Cunha had a really good game against Fulham. Probably should have scored a couple there when we drew, but it's all right. These things take time. Still questions are being asked of Sesko, and I'm now wondering, did we just do a like-for-like swap with Rasmus Højlund? Because they're the same age. They came in under enormous transfer fees and having done an awful lot overseas. But is he really going to be the kind of guy to lead the line without the experience of another striker to help him out? Because Joshua Zirkzee doesn't look the part either. So, does that really solve our attacking problems?
So where does the blame sort of lie then? Because, Amarin's not... he's not set Manchester United alight, has he, since he came to the club? And then obviously there's this embarrassing capitulation against Grimsby Town as well to take into consideration. Yeah. Does that put more pressure on him after spending 200 million plus?
No, I think he's still got time. I think he still has time.
Well, you said that last time, so you would imagine that they haven't got a choice really at the moment, have they?
Yeah, it's not that they've not got a choice.
Who do you replace him with?
Well, you don't, do you? This is the thing. If you look at how we've behaved over the last 10 years since Fergie left, really, we went through Moyes, decided he wasn't going to cut the mustard after 10 months. We then went for Van Gaal, who's a proven winner on the international scene. That didn't work out. So we then went for Mourinho, whose tactical acumen hasn't been good for about 5 years. Then we got Solskjaer for a cultural reboot. Then we got Ten Hag in because of what he'd done in the Dutch league. And now we've got Amorim because of what he's done in the Portuguese league. I mean, these guys need time. They do. But I think what Amorim seems to be doing off the pitch, he's got rid of the deadwood. He's got rid of the players with the embarrassing attitudes. I think there's only 1 or 2 that are still there who we wanted to get rid of. And even then, it's Tyrell Malacia, and he's not the worst of it.
So he's cleansing the club, which is a good thing.
I think he's cleansing the club, yeah. And I think he's trying to implement a style of play that is like what he had at Sporting. And I think the players are slowly coming around to it. They looked really sharp against Arsenal. It was just the goalkeeper that kind of let us down on that occasion. But otherwise, I think there is something there. I just think we need a little bit more time to be able to develop that.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about sort of trigger-happy chairman, in terms of relieving managers of their duties. Part of the problem is the owners of the football club, isn't it? Not really knowing a great deal about the football club.
No, it's a bit,
not
as you say,
much about football in general.
Well, I think, as you say, it's a very trigger-happy environment for them, and I think there were, particularly at Chelsea, they had a very trigger-happy approach when managers went on a bad run for a couple of months and they were gone. Amorim needs time to turn this around, and he needs the backing of the board. Now he has that, and that is, not unconditional. We need to start winning. I think there will be a point where it's no longer acceptable to have really poor performances and no results. And the thing is, Amorim set the bar really low for himself last season. We got nowhere in the domestic cup competitions, really. We got to the final.
Looked like a club in decline.
Very much so, a club in decline, yeah. But I think we need to finish in a respectable position in the league. We need to make a good foray into the FA Cup. We've got no European football.
Can you get into that top four?
No. Not this season.
No.
I think without question, Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea will be in there. And I think it's a bit of a shootout between Tottenham and Man City, because Man City aren't looking good.
No,
they're not.
Well, talking about Grimsby and obviously fielding an ineligible player in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
It's a clerical error. I believe that the timing was about 2 minutes out due to, I think they mentioned software errors as well, didn't they? I'm not particularly sure, but they owned up to the clerical error as soon as they realised that they'd done it. A lot of United fans were expecting Grimsby either to be kicked out of the competition or to replay the game. I would imagine that if you're the thinking man's footballing, version of what you just mentioned him before, Mourinho, you'd probably take your medicine on that one and say, well, you deserved it.
Yeah. I'm a United fan, and I have no qualms with this at all.
No.
Grimsby have been given the slap on the wrist that they deserve, but don't get me wrong, even without Clark Udua in the squad, they deserved to win that game.
Although Manchester United had plenty of opportunities in the end.
Yeah.
I think they had a chance at the very end of the game, didn't they?
Yeah, Sesko put the ball over the bar when really he should have been doing a bit more to it. But
his 76.5 million
euros. But this is it. He's 22. He's still learning the game. He needs the right kind of service, which hopefully players like Mbeumo, Cunha, Fernandes, they will give him. But that doesn't kind of cover the enormous screw up that was the game against Grimsby. So fair play to them. They've absolutely deserved that. I'd be inclined to pay half of that fine myself and say well done.
Yeah. And listen, they've got Sheffield Wednesday, is it, in the next round?
I think it is. Yeah.
They've fully earned that, there's no doubt about it. So the winners, we're talking maybe Liverpool, not so much losers as I mentioned, Newcastle
and
Aston Villa more, but from a neutral point of view, probably a neutral window for Man City and Man United.
Certainly a neutral one for Man City. I think they've still got quite a bit of work to be doing. Discussions among Man City fans indicate that Pep has run out of ideas. In a bit of the same way that Mourinho does. Once you start to become a bit more attuned to how a manager plays, it's the question then asks, will he change it up? Now Mourinho didn't.
He's been written off before, though, hasn't he? It's fair to say.
Guardiola.
Yeah.
Has he?
Yeah, he was written off before. I think they won the league one season. They didn't the next. And then they come fighting back again.
Well, they spent 200 million on the defence in that season, if I remember rightly. So with this one, they've not been nearly as big spending as what we thought. They brought in Gianluigi Donnarumma on the last day, which was to be expected. They brought in Ryan Ait-Nouri from Wolves. And then they brought in some fella in the midfield who seems to have had an absolute barnstormer. But that doesn't really address the rest of the difficulties that they're having on the field.
Is the difficulty then finding the right players for the football club, or is this a sneaking feeling behind the scenes that he's sort of putting a cap on the spending, making it a little bit more difficult for him? Because you generally find that in these situations when a manager is on his way out, the owners of the football club tell them they've got less to spend. I always used to say to Tommy that if you're having a budget cut, it's normally because you're on the verges of getting sacked. So Tommy always
to fail.
Well, yeah, in many ways you are, but then you're also saying, well, I don't think you're good enough for the job anymore, and I haven't got any faith in your spending ability now. Maybe that is the situation with Pep now and the owners.
I don't think so, because I think for Pep, he's got endless credit in the bank. I mean, look what he's done with
Your
City.
credit doesn't last long at all.
Well,
it doesn't. Look at Mourinho, you've mentioned before.
But look at Ferguson.
Yeah, well, Ferguson is a one-off, isn't he? He's an absolute one-off. He built 3 or 4 teams in his years and fantastic teams. But when it came to the end, when he decided to make the walk himself, that was probably the poorest season United had.
Yeah, but they still
and yet won the title.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas
Everton
City
should have won the title that year. Believe it or not, I think Everton were good enough. They were the best team. They were best footballing team in the Premier League at that stage.
You're probably not wrong. To be fair.
And I think they only finished 5th in the end. But they should have done better. But I put that down to David Moyes and his tactics, because I always questioned whether, I didn't think Moyes was a particularly good tactician.
No.
But listen, that says much about what's going on in the Premier League transfer window. And like we say, the losers are probably Aston Villa and the winners are Liverpool. Yeah. So listen, Ten Hag, former Manchester United manager, sacked following 3 games in charge by Leverkusen.
Yeah.
In total, his stay was around 10 weeks. I think he managed 3 games, 2 competitive ones. Do you think it's a realisation by the club that they've made a mistake? Because we've not really heard much about what's gone on behind the scenes, but to sack a manager so quickly, there's got to be a good enough reason somewhere.
This is a really, really bad look for this club. But the thing is, they've sold off almost the entirety of this team that went unbeaten through the German league season before last. Well,
arguably, you could say they are the biggest losers in the Premier League transfer window, aren't they? In that sense, because
in the German league, yeah, possibly, possibly. But he's not been given any time. He's not been given any. Time with his players, time on the pitch, time in the changing rooms, time on the training pitch. He's been given nothing. So I think
we won't know what's gone on behind the scenes, first of all. So yes, it is a bad look on the football club. I agree with you. It's a bad look on the football club. The football club will always get the criticism for making such a swift decision. But if behind the scenes they've got a good enough reason to do it, then somewhere down the line it will be justified. And as we know, history, you leave it a little bit longer and the story comes out and the reasons why it happens
but
exposed.
Even so, you would hope for an immediate explanation from Bayer Leverkusen as to why this happened.
There's absolutely nothing coming out at all.
No, nothing at all. So that's And he's not a bad manager. Right? He had a really difficult spell in charge of United, but still won 2 trophies. Had a really good setup at Ajax. He's a talented manager.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. He's a proven manager right across the board.
Yeah.
Every day of the week, any club in the Premier League certainly struggling and wanted to replace their managers would be looking at him straight away. I think so. The first few games of the season, I think he might be back in the Premier League before too long.
It's possible, yeah.
But listen, we'll move on to the National League now. Drop into the non-league pyramid, if you like, and sort of not so much a similarity. But York City, after 18 months, have decided to sack Adam Hinchelwood, and if you remember, Hinchelwood guided the Minster men to second place in the National League last season, gaining 96 points. But they were defeated by eventual playoff promotion winners, Oldham Athletic. Now they're unbeaten so far in the league with 3 draws and 1 victory. The ambitious co-chairs Matt and Julie Ann Ugler said, "We would like to thank Adam for everything he's done for the club since his arrival early last year. We wish him nothing but the very best for the future. We look forward to announcing the new manager in due course for this next chapter for the club." Now it seems really, really harsh based on being unbeaten and particularly what Hinchelwood did for them last season. But it just shows you how cutthroat the business is. In the meantime, Stuart Maynard has been named as the new manager, so very, very swift appointment there.
Yeah.
Another one that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I can't really get my head around that one, to be honest. I mean, they're sitting 19th in the table out of 24 teams, okay, which, when you look on the face of it, it is a little bit disappointing. However, they are one of only 4 clubs left in the division that are unbeaten. Okay. The last 4 games that they played were against Woking, Southend, and Sutton United. Those were the draws, and then a 2-0 win against Truro City. So not exactly easy games by any stretch of the imagination. Sutton, Woking and Truro are all immediately in and around that area. And then, who's the other one that I mentioned?
Woking, you mentioned Woking.
Woking, yeah. So Sutton, Woking and Truro all around, in and around the immediate environment. And then Southend are
4th place.
4th, yeah, exactly. So difficult games. No game in the National League is particularly easy. I think ambition may just come back to kind of bite the owners in the backside, really, because I don't think Hinchelwood had any reason on the pitch to be sacked. Again, if there's rumblings off of it, that may have been something else. But if they're doing it based on performance, then...
Well, I watched them towards the end of last season. I was actually on holiday in York, and James and I went to watch them play. And listen, the style of football, the level of the football was absolutely fantastic. It was really, really good to watch. And I'm going again on the 24th, is it? Something like that. So 23rd, 24th, when they'll be playing Carlisle. So it'll be interesting to know whether there's been any sort of significant difference in that kind of style and level of performance. But it seems really, really bizarre. But that, unfortunately, is football for you.
That's the way of it. I think Matt and Julia and Ugla put a lot of pressure on themselves by getting rid of Hinchelwood. I don't think the fallout from fans has been particularly favourable. I think Hinchelwood was a popular man at the club. I think he brought in some lofty ambitions for York. So they've now got to contend with a new manager who, again, has got pressure on himself to kind of carry on Hinchelwood's...
And his CV is not particularly fantastic, is it?
Maynard's.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's had a particularly... Well, nothing spectacular, really, and obviously we don't mean any offence by that, but it is the way of football, really. So he had a 3-year stint as manager of Wealdstone, and then a year at Notts County before coming here, and they've nothing spectacular at Wealdstone. They finished 16th, then they finished 13th, and then when they went to Notts County, they went into the playoff semi-final, which is something that you'd sort of expect from Notts County, and then now he's at York. So steady, but not spectacular.
I think it's rocking the boat a little bit too, isn't it? You've got what you think is you've got a stable team there, seasoned team that have been together, and got themselves very, very close to getting promoted.
I agree.
And it's a bit sort of gung ho, isn't it? I think.
It is. Yeah, it is. I don't think it's well thought out.
No. So listen, we'll move on to North West Counties news, and we'll start with obviously the FA Cup and the fantastic win by Atherton LR, who shocked Atherton Collieries in a pulsating tie with Rovers running out 5-2 winners. There were 3 goals up at half-time, despite Coles pulling one back. They added another 2 to move 5-1 up, and then Coles scored a consolation goal late on in the game, but the game was already won. Amazing victory for Davy Jones. An attendance of 1,000, just under 1,900 and something like that. Incredible.
That's a great turnout for them. Brilliant. I watched the highlights from that game. You could tell that LR were well up for this. I mean, they looked like a team that wanted to win this game. You know, they play that particular style of football with the overlapping fullbacks that we've seen so well and been on the receiving end of. And Brooks and Chadwick were brilliant in the fullback positions. But I think what surprised me the most was how physical they were against Collieries. Not necessarily in the sense that they were aggressive or that they were, out to, win the game by kicking them black and blue, but how they fronted up against a team that were actually physically bigger than them, taller than them. A couple of their goals came from headed set pieces, one of whom by Captain Davy Moore, who's not exactly Peter Crouch at all. In fact, he's probably closer to Tim Cahill than Peter Crouch.
Clegg said in his post-match interview that they shouldn't be scoring goals against these big centre halves. It shouldn't have happened.
No, it shouldn't have. And when you look back at the goals that were scored, it is a bit, frustrating, as I'm sure Cleggy was, to see players like Davy Moore getting in above really tall centre backs to head these goals in. And I think as well the manner in which the concession of the penalty, when I think it was Harvey Sample brought down by the goalkeeper, and that was his second sort of major indiscretion. He'd made another one in the first half. Was very lucky not to be sent off, to be quite honest with you. But I think that was a very shaky defence that were allowed to be bullied.
But listen, Cleggy's held his hands up and he's been as honest as he's been. Really, really brutal in his post-match interview.
Yes,
we'll obviously hear more from him in the second part of the show. But joining Atherton in the next round is Chadderton. They had a 3-1 win against Bishop Auckland. So listen, best of luck to them. Have we looked at the draw for the next round?
It is. We have it. Yeah. It's right here. So we've got some really good ties coming in there. So FC United of Manchester versus Chadderton is a particular standout. Atherton LR's reward for knocking out Collieries is a trip to Macclesfield. That's going to be absolutely fantastic for them. I hear they've already sold over 200 tickets for that game. So a brilliant turnout for their fans, as I'm sure we were expecting.
They're expecting absolutely nothing there, but you know what? They could go and do the business, couldn't they? There's no reason why they can't.
Well, why not? They're gonna put on their fancy outfits and front up for a day on the Macclesfield town, because why not? They may only be there once, so they'd lap it up. Other particular fixtures that jump out of there is Enfield versus Enfield Town, a bit of a local derby there. AFC Fylde versus Bamber Bridge, two teams that were in the National League, I think they might even be in the same division. AFC Fylde versus Bamber Bridge, only separated by a stretch of the M55. And then Radcliffe versus Southport, another clash of the heavyweights, and then Stalybridge Celtic, who've beaten Bury twice already this season. They go to they welcome Chester.
Chester's not having a particularly good start.
No.
So that'll be an interesting side. But listen, we'll just move slightly back before we go forward again. We'll look at the results from the Premier Division in the North West Counties. Obviously a few games that bowing out of the FA Cup were Wythenshawe, West Didsbury and Chorlton, unfortunately from the North West Counties. But moving on to the Premier Division, the big derby, the AFC Liverpool versus City of Liverpool derby. Surprised there. Was expected AFC Liverpool to win that one, but they ended up losing 4-3 at the 3rd minute of injury time. Robert Murphy managed to steal the game.
Yeah, he did. I don't think any of us were expecting this result by any stretch. But I think it probably shows that City of Liverpool do have a strength in unity that maybe we didn't appreciate in the initial stages of the season. We thought that there was going to be a bit of a rebuild, but Andy Manjoba, who we already identified as being one heck of a player, he's opened the scoring for them, and then they've taken the game from there. Really, they've fought their way back twice, actually, to then edge ahead in the last minute of the game and steal the local derby. And actually, I think it's their first win of the season. It is. It's their first win of the season, so it's a perfect time to get one in a local derby. Moves them up to 20th in the league.
Sorry, who were we talking about there?
City of Liverpool.
Oh, City of Liverpool, their first win, it is
their first win
away from home,
It is,
spot on. Yeah. Surprise, really. But when you say that it's a bit of a recovery for City of Liverpool, they're both still down the wrong end of the table, aren't they?
They are, but it will give them some momentum and a little bit of a spur of positivity there after a really difficult opening 5 games in which they only had 1 draw to their name before the weekend. Moving on through the fixtures, then Bursko, they lost their game at home to FC St Helens in a game that perhaps we thought they might win. Goals from Michael Ibeto and Josh Briggs giving their FC St Helens a 2-1 victory at the community ground. Paddingham continued their very fine run, but it was only down to the late intervention of Finlay Holyoke in the 94th minute of the game that saw them beat FC Isle of Man at the Bowl. Glossop North End's poor run continues with a 1-0 defeat at home to South Liverpool. Earlham continuing their strong run with a 3-0 victory over Litherland Remica. Pilks and Barnoldswick playing out an absolute thriller of a 3-3 draw. Prestwich Hayes and Cheadletown sharing points there, and Stockport Town also sharing out points with Exton Villa. So it means that Paddingham continue to consolidate their perfect run at the top of the table with a maximum of 18 points from 6 games. Rami have played a game more than Paddingham, but just 2 points behind on 16. Earlham rounding out the top 3 with 15 points, and then Bursko hot on their heels with 14. Chadderton, South Liverpool, Stockport Town, St Helens Town and Wythenshawe are all knocking around there or thereabouts.
So we'll take a look at Division 1 North.
Yeah.
And sort of a return to form a little bit. We expect a lot more of them. Droylsden managed to beat Ashton Athletic at Ashton 4-1.
Yep.
A lot of the goals coming in from the 70th minute. Sam Oliver scored. Jamie Robinson scored in the 74th minute, and then Cody Artwell scored in the 87th and the 92nd minute of the game. And to add another goal on top of that, Ashton have scored in the 94th minute. But yeah, we were expecting a little bit more of Droylsden. Saying that, they've sort of had a half a rocky start, but they're up there in second place now. They're not doing so bad.
No, they really aren't doing so badly. Perhaps we just expected a bit more of them because they are Droylsden, and so they are naturally a bit more heavy set, than most teams in the division. They have played a game more than most of these teams. However, in and around them, apart from Daisy Hill, they are the only team to have played 6 games. But are still 2 points ahead of Steeton, who contested out maybe the game of the weekend. It was a top of the table clash against Maghull over at the Marley Stadium in West Yorkshire, where Maghull came out of it 3-1 winners. A Sam Smith double playing a crucial role for them.
Looking really good, aren't they?
Mughal are looking seriously good. So out of the 5 games that they've played, they've won 4 of them and then drawn the other one. So they are unbeaten throughout the division so far.
Further misery for Ashton Town and Kevin Towie. They lost at home to Bacup Borough. Bacup Borough's first game of the season in the league. Great start for them.
A very good start for them. Yeah, as we know, their stadium, which has a really bizarre name to it, and I think it's like the Brian Boys Stadium, something like that. Anyway, that's been undergoing major renovations to the clubhouse, which meant that the club hasn't been able to fulfil any fixtures at home of yet, and have only just started playing away very recently. But they turned up to the Bartons Group Stadium, and a single goal from Ben Thompson gave them a win to take back to East Lancashire, which will infuriate Kevin Towie, as I'm sure he was very much set on his team making a strong start. But just the one win away, just the one win at all this season, with 1 draw and 2 losses to go along with it. Cone saw off Garstang by 2 goals to 0. Darwin suffered a shock defeat at home to AFC Blackpool, who claimed their first win of the campaign. Second half goals from James Hughes and Corey Adams.
You say a shock, but we do expect a little bit more out of AFC Blackpool as well, don't we?
Well,
they can be quite a resilient, free scoring team, can't they?
They can be, and they certainly were last season when they had the Heppel brothers up front, but both of them have gone now. Yeah. So you kind of wonder where the goals were coming from. But nonetheless, after their initial early season struggles, the Mechanics have their opening win of the season to take back with them to West Lancashire. They call it the Tower Derby, actually, given that Blackpool has a tower and Darwin has a tower. They refer to it as the Tower Derby.
Oh, yeah, I was aware of that, by the way.
All right.
Were you aware of the flat cap derby between Atherton?
No.
No, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'd forgotten, but when it was resurfaced, I thought, okay, crikey, I remember that one.
You were aware of that one.
Yeah. Talking about the Heppel brothers, one of the Heppel brothers, Luke, in fact, managed to get Nelson off to a good start under their new manager, I think, yeah?
I think he took charge. We will come to this, but
Aaron Ripley,
new manager new manager. He's returning, but he's had a perfect start at Little Wembley. I think their stadium's called these days. Yeah. They saw off Thornton Cleveland's by 2 goals to 1 in front of a gate that would seem a little bit small. What do you think? 96 turned out to see Nelson play Thornton, which seems a little bit small.
Yeah, well, but listen, we've said it before, haven't we? If you lose in games, you're losing spectators. If you win in games, you gain in them. And you know what? Listen, we have that to come when we play our first game at the Marine Travel Arena Stadium on Saturday. We get off to a good start, and then we might see a steady trickle of players, supporters coming back to watch us. Listen, very, very difficult. We'll talk about that later in the show. But let's move on to the Division 1 South briefly. No real big surprises there. Stafford Town have managed to do the business at Allscott Heath, winning 1-0. Stockport Georgians, I think we expected them to win as well. They did. Telford Town, a little bit more difficult game for them against Asheville at Asheville, but they've still managed to do the business. And listen, on that front, I just look up my little book of surprises here. So not next week, but the week after, we will have the manager of Telford Town on the show. His name is Matthew Boswell.
Cool.
So we'll be speaking to him in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, we gave them a little bit of a mention last week, and we've subsequently been invited to go and watch a game at Telford. So we're very, very welcoming crowd there, and we're very grateful. And we look forward to speaking with Matthew Boswell in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, so looking through the rest of the results there, any surprises for you?
The only surprise for me really was just how big that gap in class was between Sandbach United and Wolverhampton Sporting Community. 9 goals 0.
Well, we've been on the end of one of them before.
2, and it
hurts.
Yes, it does. But Joe Bevan kicked the proceedings off for Sam Batch in the 8th minute of the game. He subsequently went on to get a hat-trick. Robbie Hatton and Kyle Foley both contributing a brace each as well. So that's done. Sandbach United's goal difference, absolutely no harm whatsoever. They are 7th in the division. Still got a bit to do to close that gap of 4 points from Barnton and New Mills and Stockport Georgians. But now that they're kicking on,
they're in the right direction now.
They are very much in the right direction. Runcorn Town took care of things at away to Shawbury United with a 2-0 win there, and then Wolverhampton Casuals on the wrong end of a 2-0 defeat to Camel Laird.
Yeah, and just briefly looking at the Edward Chase Cup preliminary rounds in the north and south, MSB Walton managed to batter Garstang 5-1. That'll do their confidence no harm whatsoever. And then Telford Town again, they just keep doing it, don't they?
Yes, they do.
6 goals against Hormond.
God,
Still not. I'm gonna have to Google that. But,
yeah, we are. Well,
listen, great win for them. But that rounds up the results in the Northwest Counties. So we just go back to the basic news which we've been talking about. Now, following the departure of manager Jerry Harrison at Nelson a couple of weeks ago, the club has announced the appointment of Aaron Ripley. Aaron returns to the club following his controversial sacking in November 2024. The club was second in place in the league, and Aaron had a 72% win rate at the time. Now, rumours suggested his sacking was down to the fact that he'd lost the support of his players. Nelson have had a poor start to the season under Harrison, and given the alleged size of their budget, you would think the sacking was rather inevitable. But the question is, one, Aaron's managed to come back after all the bad press and publicity surrounding his sacking in the first place. A strange one.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the first sort of major bone of contention is, how does a 72% win rate not do it for you? I think that's an excellent win rate. It's almost unheard of. I mean, most managers tend to have about 50%, maybe. So this is stunning. Let's be honest. If he's lost the support of his players, then that's a different, that's a different thing altogether. Yeah. It's
an odd one anyway, isn't it? And but listen, reflecting on that, they had a win at the weekend. So as we just mentioned,
then things are moving in the right direction.
So if he's lost the support of his players, now he's got to regain the support of them when he starts his new tenure in the job.
You would hope so. Yeah, I mean, the reaction from fans is a bit mixed, really. I mean, there's a few that say he should never have had the boot in the first place, and he's more than likely he would have gone up under Ripley than under Harrison. And then there's a bit of questioning of the board as to why they've brought him back when he was sacked due to poor performance. I mean, there's even some that are saying it's a bit of a backward step, and that he had lost the support of the players last time. As you say, I mean, bizarre. There's always this kind of discussion to be had when a manager returns to a club, and exactly what the circumstances were for him to depart in the first place. But nonetheless, Aaron Ripley is back. He started off with a good positive win there. So you would like to think that they will kick on now and be kind of up towards the top where they were last season, and where they got so close.
Moving on to Glossop North End, and Richard Brodie, friend of the show, indeed, reflecting on another defeat at the weekend. Probably would have been less painful, someone coming along and volleying me between the legs, to be honest, the way I'm feeling at the minute. That was Brodie's comments after the 1-0 defeat against South Liverpool on Saturday. Richard is clearly feeling the pressure, but he's also confident that the team can turn things around. I'll listen to his post-match interview, and you can see how much it's hurting him at the moment, because he's putting all the effort in. He went on further to say he spends at least 15 hours a week travelling backwards and forwards to the club.
Because he comes in from Southport, it's a big journey.
Yeah, but the critics won't be interested in that. But I feel for the lad. He's a great man, and he's an honest one himself.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he'll know that this isn't great for a club like Glossop. It's a big name. It's got a big history.
Well, we're talking about 2 ex-Football League clubs in back-to-back. We've talked about Nelson, and now we're talking about Glossop, who have a really, really rich pedigree and a history in the Football League. But many moons ago, but still.
Exactly. But I think that down at this level, history counts for very little. To be honest, I think once you start to have a dip, the history of the club is forgotten unless you can team that with money, unfortunately. But I mean, Glossop is still being very well supported, still in excess of 200 fans going along to every single home game at the Asgard Stadium. And I know that he would have wanted to do better, and it is a bit of a shaky start, but it's 1 win and 2 draws from their opening 6 games with 3 defeats. Now that isn't great by any stretch of the imagination, but they are by no means adrift at the bottom. They're still the lower end of mid-table and still got plenty of time to turn the season around. He may just need to address 1 or 2 issues on the pitch. I'm confident he can turn things around, but he is a man who is trying. Like let's make no bones about that one. This man is absolutely trying to do the best thing for Glossop.
And listen, the one thing that we do know about Glossop is a successful Glossop side. The supporters will come running back. You go back a few years ago when they were, doing well in the FA Vars and what have you. The crowds were getting nearer to the 1,000 mark, and so there's always potential there to draw in a big crowd if they're winning games. But you know what? I feel as though we should be doing an episode on this show about mental health within non-league football, because seem to be witnessing it all. Mentioned obviously what's going on with Michael Clegg at Atherton, and then of course talking about Brodie. But listen, it brings us sort of segues really, really well to the next story about Daisy Hill. Originally, it was reported that the Daisy Hill manager Lee Hill had stepped down, citing personal reasons and family commitments. It was later revealed that he was in fact sacked.
Yeah, exactly. The initial statement was that Lee Hill had resigned from his role due to personal reasons and family commitments, and Daisy Hill were grateful for his time at the club, which included leading us to our first trophy in 30 years. Now, the plot thickens a little bit with the release of a personal statement by Lee Hill, and he says that this is his first job in management, and I'll start from the beginning. It's been an absolute pleasure to manage the club, to come in at a time when they had no money, no players and no ambition, and still keep them in the league in my first season as a manager is a highlight. To improve on that with a mid-table finish with one of the lowest budgets in the league and win the club its first trophy in 30 years in my second season is an equal highlight. Going out on the street, securing sponsorship with no other people willing to do it, bringing the players and the committee together by hosting social nights to put money behind the bar, invoicing companies on behalf of the club because no one else would do it, running the kit to the dry cleaners, weekly, setting up online tickets because no one else could or would, sourcing kits, cutting and marking the pitch, all this and more before any content creator or YouTuber even knew where Daisy Hill was. When the club was on the verge of folding, with emails circulating of withdrawing from the league unless someone stepped in, I acted and reached out to Aaron and convinced him to come in as chairman. A business decision on behalf of the club that has since turned the club from rags to riches and put it firmly on the social media map, as well as giving it years of solid sustainability with more money in the bank than it's ever had and double in its average attendance. This is the biggest thing I am proud of. This clearly created a new level of expectation which sealed my own fate. But to say I am bitterly disappointed by the lack of trust and faith shown in return is an understatement. Yes, this season got off to a poor start with lots of factors at play, a lot of fine margins in football that we fell the wrong side of, but 1 week after a support meeting where the club agreed to give us a further £100 a week budget, playing one game and drawing away to an informed top end of the table side and getting a good away point from the club, have pulled the trigger 6 games in and only 5 points away from the playoffs with almost 30 games remaining. This, however, is the brutal world of management, and ultimately the buck stops with me, which I accept. My first job in management, though, and above all, I'm extremely proud of what we as management group achieved with the hurdles and constraints put on us. Daisy is a club I've been in and around for 20 years, and on one hand I'm sad I gave so much to it for the lack of recent loyalty shown in return. On the other, I am extremely proud to see it thriving like it should and happy that I helped create and build that. Now, there is more to it when he thanks a lot of people who have been in and around his support system, most notably his family. And I think it's interesting to see how many of the players have actually retweeted this with words of support.
He's obviously well liked, isn't he, by the players?
Hugely well liked within the club. Goalkeeper
very
Morgan
well respected
Newnes,
as well.
Yeah, the captain Jake O'Brien, Nathan Bartram, Ryan Fitzpatrick. All these players who have reposted this with words of warmth about how they felt that they were managed so well by a man who clearly meant an awful lot to the club, but who the club meant an awful lot to as well. And I think to cast him aside like this is probably, reflective of what we were saying earlier, that maybe owners have business acumen but not necessarily the football knowledge to walk hand in hand with it. Now, the plot thickens a little bit more in that a particular individual sent me a link to Aaron Hunt's Twitch stream. Now, Twitch is a social media platform.
This is breaking news.
Yeah, it's not necessarily breaking news, but it is gossip. Now, this source, as I say, and I am grateful to this source, you know who you are because I know you listen to this show. He has sent me a link to Aaron Hunt's Twitch stream. Now, Twitch is a social media site mainly for video game broadcasting, but Aaron Hunt has been using his to broadcast the games, the live stream, the Daisy Hill games, when he's been intermingling with the crowd. And one particular clip showed him at the point at which forward amateurs scored to secure a draw against Daisy Hill, and him bad-mouthing Lee Hill's decisions to bring on substitutes needlessly, in inverted commas, and discussing that with the fans. Evidently a move to gain followers and awareness on social media, but not necessarily providing the backing of his own manager.
Is the part of you that felt initially when this all unravelled that it was part of the game? The social media game, a little bit of clickbait that eventually Lee Hill will be... We know that's not the case now, but my initial thoughts were... I thought they were extremely friendly with each other. I thought Lee and Aaron were really good friends. That was the initial belief I had when I first seen the YouTube videos.
Well, I think it must have been. I think it must have been for Aaron Hunt to buy into Daisy Hill, so to speak. As Lee said in his notes there, he was the one that set up the meeting that ended up with Aaron Hunt taking over the club. So you would feel that there would have been a strong professional agreement in there as well. Now, as he says, there's been more money in the bank than he ever dreamt of, and there were big players that were brought into the club. You know, Chad Wiley,
White, yeah.
Chad White. Pardon me. He was brought into the club. There was also Glenn Matthews as well. He came back for another stint, having played at the higher level. He only lasted 6 days at the club, and now he's left. On the fallout from this. So there were players who were brought in under Lee Hill that decided to walk, presumably in support. But for me,
we differ in opinions a little bit, but when we truly we do come together a little bit in our belief that there's got to be a little bit of panache and style attached to this social media football club. How would you describe Daisy Hill now as a commentator? Would you say Daisy Hill is a club with a long history, with very little support, but the support that they had were always loyal? And the band of people, albeit aging, the people that were looking after the football club before Aaron Hill came along, very, very close-knit. The sympathy now will be very small in comparison to the greater attendance that they get now, because they've not really bought into Daisy Hill with a history.
No.
They bought into Daisy Hill because there's a YouTuber and there's Angry Gingers put his name on the stadium.
I think that's about right. So the supporters that Aaron Hunt was milling around during this Twitch stream were the loyalist, fierce ultras who've supported Daisy Hill for going on 40 years, if you like. And although they were in disagreement with how Lee Hill was managing the club on the pitch, I don't think they could doubt at all that his efforts to keep the club surviving off of it, and I think it'll be really interesting to see how they take to the new manager. For me, I think Daisy Hill is a club whose history has kind of been painted out by the presence of YouTubers and social media people who want to move them on to bigger things, really starting from now, without really the respect of the history of the club. Really, they've renamed the stadium. They've obviously sold the sponsorship naming rights, which isn't an enormously bad thing, but they've not respected the tradition of having Lee Hill in the club in any way, shape, or form.
We did, as you know, we made attempts to bring Lee Hill onto the show originally after the appointment of Aaron Hill as chairman, and you seemed to be up for it at one stage, and then later on I received a message to say that they had no interest or desire, his chairman and I have no interest or desire to come on your show, which is fair enough. I'd like to know whether that's still the case now, or whether Lee would, when it sort of dies down a little bit, whether he'd like to come on the show and present his version of what's happened, because I do feel for him. I still feel for him, regardless of the email that I was sent, because he sort of intimated there towards the hard work and the graft. We share that in common. My wife does the hospitality, she does the kit. I pick up players, take them to training, take the training gear in. I do everything off the field to support the players as much as I try to support the football club. In terms of keeping the football club going. So I know what it's like to be the glue that keeps a football club together. So I know that all the work that he's done away from the management side of it means a hell of a lot, and to be casted off like that without with any great deal thanks. I think what did Aaron say he just said a simple.
It's a very, very short message for a man who's given an awful lot of time and effort to the club, particularly when he outlined the things that he does there, chasing invoices, doing the club laundry, repainting the pitch, all of that just marks out Lee as Mr. Daisy Hill, if you like it. And, unfortunately for a man in his position, when the team isn't performing, that's all that's going to be examined. They won't look at what he did off the pitch. They won't look at the fact that Daisy Hill is still in existence today because of Lee Hill. They won't look at that. They will think Daisy Hill is sitting in 16th and haven't won a game yet because of Lee Hill. And it's really sad to think that his legacy sits on those kind of tiny details when the bigger picture is that without Lee Hill, there isn't a Daisy Hill Football Club. There just isn't.
Yeah, listen, I've said this before, but here goes. Listen, if you're strolling through town with your shirt off, flaunting those impressive muscles, and I'm looking at you across the table here. It might feel empowering, but be warned, if you've never been in a fight before, chances are someone's going to call you out sooner or later. And the swagger, and I've come full circle because I'm really, really intrigued by the social media presence, because I know it can make a big, big difference. Because sometimes when you can't really get the attendance that you want, and you can't make money through the turnstiles, the flip side of that is trying to make it through social media, making your social media more significant, because it brings in sponsors. So I'm intrigued, and I like the idea of it, but I sometimes think if you walk into a football club and you don't show anybody respect. I mean, as an example, and I don't hold it against him, but Aaron Hunt came to Bearscough when we were playing at Bearscough, and he commented on a sandwich that my wife made. So obviously we know Rowena does the hospitality, and I can't remember. He said, "But who puts such and such on a sandwich?" You can't remember what it was now. You might remember, but there was an array of sandwiches there. There was sausage rolls, there was pizzas, there was cakes, there was everything galore there. We know that our hospitality was second to none, but rather than get an acknowledgement of how well they were treated, he went totally the opposite way by making a comment about a sandwich that had something on it that he doesn't particularly like.
What a spoilt brat.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I don't want to get into a slanging match with him because he's going to win and he's got the power behind his significant audience. But if I'm giving a bit of advice to him, is listen, if you're doing things just to get people to click, then there's a way of doing it. You can swagger, you can go in all proud and that, but you can do it with a little bit of honesty and integrity. You don't have to sort of knock people for doing what they're doing. I mean, I think the first instance at the football club when he turned up was the fact that he broke the gate attendance illegally, and I listen, I don't know whether they were fined for that. And okay, listen, he's learning as he goes along. Great. And he's brought a different dynamic to Daisy Hill. It's great. I'm interested. I want to watch the story develop. I want to see them do well, but I want to see it done with style.
And class.
Yeah,
it's the hallmark of how a chairman runs his football club, that he can do things with as much dignity as what he possibly can. And I don't think there's been a lot of that around Daisy Hill.
And I don't think you're going to get it either. If in all honesty, you wish for it, but I don't think it'll happen. Listen, at the end of the day, someone's lost the job here, and regardless of the hard work and effort he's put in. So, listen, commiserations to Lee. But listen, they were swiftly made an appointment. Nicky Hunt is their new manager.
Yes.
Nicky Hunt was most recently assistant to our special guest today, Michael Clegg, at Atherton Collieries. This is his first post as a manager. Nicky's made 127 appearances in the Premier League for Bolton Wanderers. Untried, untested, good replacement for Lee.
I I think it is quite a positive one. I mean, Nicky's a local lad. He comes from the Bolton area. He's obviously played for Bolton Wanderers. Yeah, he's started to cut his teeth in management a little bit. At these big clubs, Ashton United, Rylands, Collieries. It's not as though he's coming in as an unknown. He's known to the locals. He's known in the non-league footballing scene. So it's a decent enough appointment. It is. I think it's probably more. I think it's more a star name than Lee Hill was.
Yeah.
I think it will probably draw in a bit more attention.
Do you know what I was expecting?
What were you? Angry Ginge?
Yeah, I was expecting Angry Ginge. Listen, it's that bizarre and strange that anything goes these days. I thought Angry Ginge is going to be in charge of Daisy Hill like he was with United.
Oh dear God!
Nothing would surprise me in football anymore.
I don't think
that's the truth.
I don't think he's got time. I think he's away doing all sorts of bits and bobs. I just don't think he has the time to be a manager of Daisy Hill. Nonetheless, it is Nicky Hunt, and I think he will. I think it's a positive appointment, but I think he's got to hit the ground running. I think he absolutely has to hit the ground running. He's got to get the squad on side first of all. I think he's got to have them playing in a way that is a bit more articulate to how he wants them to play, particularly in a league that is as difficult as the Division 1 North that we know. And he's also got to live up to the expectations of a chairman for whom ratings over and views over style and substance is looking a bit more like the precedents.
I think Aaron's made a really good appointment because one, obviously they play a couple of levels below the club that he's left. So I would imagine there'll be some kind of reciprocal arrangement between Michael Clegg and Nicky, the best of friends as well as working together. So I'm pretty sure that they'll be helping each other out, and it was a natural progression for Nicky Hunt to want to go into management. So listen, best of luck to him. Listen, we move on, and no doubt we've been a little bit more
investigative,
a bit more topical as well than we prefer to be, because we get told off for saying the things that people don't want to hear.
Yeah, when I say things controversial, when I go off.
I've said them controversial.
I know you have, but it's me that tends
You were going to be the bad cop, I was going to be the good cop.
It tends to be me that kind of has my head under the axe, and then suddenly Frank kind of shoves me out of the way and says, he didn't mean it, sorry. Bail me out. But anyway, we're going to move on, and Big Ben.
Big Ben.
Yes.
Yeah. Not the one in London.
Not the big clock, no.
The big what?
The big clock.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm talking about the big cop.
Right, yeah. The big cop he is.
Ben Barnes, the Sken United goalkeeper of legendary status. So it was announced a couple of weeks ago that he had departed from Burscough. He'd been weighing up a couple of offers. Obviously, a spectacular goalkeeper on his day. Huge pedigree still, even at the age of 38. A bit like Edwin van der Sar. Still going at the highest level. Been given a couple of offers, but has decided to join AFC Liverpool. We knew that he wanted to play at a level that his talent permitted, and that level is the Northwest Counties Premier Division, and he's joining up with a AFC Liverpool team who finished in the top half of the table last season, but whose win to loss rate was nowhere near as far apart as what they were hoping for. So they're currently sitting in 21st in the Premier Division. One win from their opening 6 games, so they've got a bit of a tide to turn. And given that they've conceded 12 goals, at home this season, and 15 in total.
So Ben could make all the difference, couldn't he? And as we know, he's 38 years of age. He's still going strong. I could imagine him playing well into his 40s, really, to be honest with you, the way he's going.
Yeah, if his if
his body holds up.
Yeah, if his body and his personal life, hold up together in that way, then I can fully see that happening. He's got a very, very supportive family, as we know. His partner Kate and his children are his biggest shouters and proclaimers, and we love that.
Listen, they're a fantastic family.
They really are.
We love them to bits, and we can only wish him all the very best. I think that we thought he might have gone back to the city of Liverpool. That didn't happen, but he wants to try a bit of both. He wants.
Yeah, he's
and AFC Liverpool's probably a good one for him, and it ties him back up with Carl Lancaster as well, because Carl was assistant manager at Skem, I think briefly when Ben first come back to the football club. So listen, it'll be a good move for him.
Yes,
and I think he'll do enough there to help them avoid relegation and get them back up to the sort of middle of the table. So best of luck to Ben Barnes.
100%.
We'll go through to the National League North just briefly before we go to the second part of the show.
Most
AFC
certainly.
Marine, 3 consecutive defeats for them, sees them drop to 15th position in the Northern the
National League
North. Bobby Grant appears to be lacking a bit of firepower, and as a wise man. Do you
want to take a deep breath and just start this again? Come on.
Yeah, a wise man told me the other day that Bobby Grant needs a Bobby Grant right now. He needs somebody to score goals. And listen, Marine are away to Radcliffe, who've made a similar start. So they'll be playing them this weekend, but even if at this stage, with only 7 games played, you feel as though they need to win to restore a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, I don't think they're particularly worried about any kind of threat of relegation at this stage, because it is very early days, and there is still an awful lot to play for. That being said, the last few games haven't been particularly kind to them, but even then, they lost against Darlington. There's no shame in that. Darlington are a big club, tough side, as we know. They will be disappointed that they lost to Peterborough Sports. I think there was a game that they felt that they could have won. They lost to Alfreton Town, who, for their... Alfreton are 3rd from bottom. So again, should reasonably, be doing better. They've beaten Merthyr Town, and they beat Bedford Town in the games prior to that. They beat Buxton as well. So the games are kind of coming around and about. Really, it's an unfortunate run, but they've got, as you say, they've got Radcliffe next. And then they've got a trip up to Newcastle Blue Star in the FA Cup second qualifying, and then games against Kings Lynn and Macclesfield. So they are a bit of a mixture of winnable games and very tough games. But they've just got to navigate through a bit of a minefield before things start to get a little bit easier for them, and they do. After the Macclesfield game, they then got AFC Telford United, Worksop Town, Curzon Ashton and Scarborough Athletic, all of which are games that they could win. I mean, Scarborough Athletic is probably the biggest challenge there. They're sitting second at the minute. Worksop are 8th. AFC Telford United at 12th. So, right now the league is very, very compact, and 1 or 2
and very
wins.
Competitive. We
exactly,
know that.
And 1 or 2 wins, and you're jumping up about 4 places. So, do you know what? Nothing is written off right now for Bobby Grant and his team. They may just need a bit more goal scoring up front. But even then, they were known last season for winning games by the odd goal or 2. They weren't winning 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. They weren't. They were winning 1-0, 2-0. Their biggest prowess was the defence that they were built on. And don't get me wrong, that defence is being tested this season. They've conceded 11 goals this season, but there are still teams up in the top half of the table that have conceded more. Merthyr Town have conceded 11, Spennymoor have conceded 12, and then Radcliffe, who were above them, conceded 11. Darlington, Chester, Oxford, Buxton, Hereford, Bedford. I mean, there are loads of teams below them that have conceded more than they have. It's just, scoring seems to be the difficulty for them at this point.
Yeah, but listen, we fear most for Southport Football Club, really. 5 consecutive defeats for the Sandgrounders sees them propping up the rest of the league. Just one win, and 3 points to the name,
to draw a game.
A difficult sort of baptism for the owners, the new owners, as well as the new manager, Neil Dan's. Early days, I know, but you have to fear for them. They've got a really tough away fixture to current leaders South Shields at the weekend.
They do. They've got South Shields. They played Scarborough Athletic a couple of weeks ago. As they say, Scarborough finishing currently second in the division. They then played Leamington. Sandwiched between the two. Leamington, who are currently 10th in the division. They drew at home to AFC Fylde, which is a creditable result by anyone's standards. Lost to Worksop and Macclesfield, which may have been expected. But won against Bedford Town. So they are a team that are just riding a really difficult patch with teams coming to play them who are technically heavyweights of the division. But again, they are a team who can navigate things once they're out of the rough patch. They've got Peterborough Sports in a few weeks' time, after the FA Cup second qualifying. They've got Spennymoor, who again is a bit of a winnable game. Oxford City. They've got Chester as well, which is never an easy game, but with the way Chester are going, Southport could get something from that. So again,
a lot of work to be done, though.
There is a lot of work to be done, but I feel like you can't write Neil Dan's off.
You can't write them off at the moment. It's far too early to do that, but you just do worry about them. But listen, going on to the Northern Premier League, Premier Division, there is a full fixture list in the Premier Division. FC United are still at the top. They managed to beat Rossington Main 4-0 away from home in the FA Cup. They are playing at home to Cleethorpes Town, so you expect them to maybe maintain their position there at the top of the league. But for the rest of them then, it's the FA Trophy, the start of the FA Trophy, and just picking out 1 or 2 games there. Avro are at home to Clitheroe. Bury are at home to Wythenshawe Town.
Nice.
An interesting one there, because am I right in saying that will be the return of what's his name? Or is it Wythenshawe? It's the other Wythenshawe, isn't it?
Wythenshawe Amis.
Was it the one that they took the goal scorer from? He's gone back. Oh, listen,
no, that was Chatterton.
Oh, it's Chatterton, yeah.
Yeah, it was
How did he get that Wythenshawe? Yeah, forget that.
Sausage.
Take a notice, I'm talking rubbish. As per usual, Silsden at home to Atherton Collieries. That'll be an interesting one to see if they can turn their fortunes around there and get a nice little win there and restore a little bit of confidence. But yeah, that's the FA Trophy for most of them. Just coming back to the FA Cup, because I know we've mentioned it, but an interesting story I picked up on was Nantwich Town, who were involved in the FA Cup themselves, and recorded on 8.8 seconds. Byron Harrison scored the fastest Nantwich Town goal on record, and one of the fastest FA Cup goals in history against Avro on Saturday. Now, when I read that, it automatically took me back to the my first tenure as chairman of Scum United Football Club, when we conceded a goal in 4 seconds in the FA Cup against Ashton United's Gareth Morris. Now, I've been trying to trace both him and Byron Harrison so we can get them on the show, because that would be an interesting one. But I remember, I think Robbie Holcroft was in goal. He won't like me saying that, but the record-breaking goal came from a 60-yard shot from almost the other side of the halfway line, sailed over the Scum goalkeeper and into the net. So 8.8 seconds is slow.
Yeah, it is. Like, that's practically the second half.
Yeah, there you go. So listen, that rounds up the first part of the show, I think, doesn't it? There's nothing else to report on there, is there? So listen, in the second part of the show, we'll look forward to speaking to Michael Clegg, who's the manager of Atherton Collieries. We look forward to speaking to him. Don't go away, we'll have a few adverts and we'll come back to you. A heartfelt shout out to all the businesses supporting Skelmersdale United Football Club, especially T&W Garners and Pedro de Seda Enterprises. Thank you to everyone who donates to the club, supports our race nights, raffles, lottery bonus ball scheme and the weekly draw in conjunction with NYCBA. A special thanks to those who organise such fundraising events, with a particular mention for the incredible Lee Davis and Rowena Hughes. To everyone who stands by us both on and off the pitch, we are truly grateful. If you wish to sponsor the show, please contact me at chairman.skemutdfc@gmail.com or alternatively call me on 077 66054 548. All proceeds will go to Skelmersdale United Football Club. Thank you for your unwavering support. Hello and welcome to the second part of the Speaking Frankly football show, and a warm welcome to Michael Clegg, the manager of Atherton Collieries. Collieries, I can never get that word right. Which way do you pronounce it?
Just Coles.
Coles, okay.
Yeah, so you avoid any confusion then.
Yeah. Listen, you're someone that's always been on the radar I've wanted to speak to because I found it quite fascinating. And I listened to I had trials once, and I think it's one of my favourite all-time round podcasts. So I just want you to briefly fill in other people with detail. Describe your football career and your transition from footballer to manager.
Yeah, so like I'd done, so as a kid I was in the academy at United, and then I was at Wigan Athletic, and then I stopped that pretty early. I had an operation on my heart at like 19-year-old, and then I had the opportunity to go over to Thailand and stuff to play, but I just fell into non-league, and then by the time I got to 27 I was coaching and managing, and that's where it started, first at Pennington and Atherton Town in the Manchester League, then from LR to Coles to Ashton to Rylands to Macclesfield, back to Coles, and I think 550 games in now.
Yeah, it's incredible. Listen, we actually share something in common apart from football. We both have Wolff Parkinson White syndrome, and you just mentioned it there about the operation that you had. How old were you when you had that operation?
Oh, mate, that's mad. You're the first person who's ever said that. So that's really crazy, yeah, because it's a very, very rare thing, isn't it? So I got diagnosed with that as I went for a medical when I was 17-year-old at Wigan. So it was quite a strange one for me, because like, without boring you, we went to Wrexham for the day to all of our medicals, and then the day before that I'd trained with the first team. So that was the Thursday. At 17, I trained with the first team. Then on the Friday, we all went for our medicals at Wrexham. And then on the Saturday, the first team was going to Holland in a pre-season tournament. And the youth team were going to New York, playing in a tournament at Long Island. So on the Friday afternoon, once we got back from Wrexham and got home, I got a call saying, can you come to the training ground in the morning? Well, the first team going to Holland and the youth team were only going to New York on the Sunday from Manchester Airport. We'd already had our meeting arrangements. And then I'll never forget, I was like, do I need anything? They were like, no, just come in with your mum and dad and we'll have a chat there and we'll go from there. I'll never forget, I was like walking up into the physio room at Christopher Park, which was to the left, away from the change room, and Roberto Martinez with Roy Carroll. And I think word had probably got round something weren't quite right with my medical. And I got the old, like, hiya mate, are you okay? And I was thinking, something's gone wrong here. And then we went in and the staff explained, look, there was something wrong with your heart on the medical. You can't go to New York. You can't train. We need to get you in the Alexander at Cheadle soon as. And you literally, like, football's off the radar for the time being. So they booked me in at the Alexander Cheadle. I went and had an heart op. And I near enough missed my full first year as as a scholar. And to be fair, at that moment in time, I was flying. I was in with the first team a couple of times and stuff. So yeah, it was a real big blow at the time. It was awful. Yeah.
I was lucky enough. I avoided the operation and took the sort of medication route. But I knew sort of when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I knew there was something wrong with my heart. But you take it for granted a little bit when you're younger. And as you get older, I found out what it was, and it has quite a profound effect on your sort of your ability to, particularly as a sportsman or anything like that. It sets doubt in your mind. Did it set doubt in your mind?
Well, that's exactly what I mean, mate. So like, I just got used to feeling how I felt because I didn't know anything else. So at the time, you got to remember that pre-season. That was the first time ever I've been like pushed to my maximum, as an athlete, really. So what I'd find is like anything under 3 minutes, anything like 80 metres, 100 metres, 200 metres, anything under 3 minutes, I was right near the front. And then literally the fall off from me after that, anything a bit longer distance, it was a struggle. So once it got diagnosed, I was thinking, well, I did think that there was something wrong, but I got that used to it. And then, but yeah, I think, at the time, because I was flying and then missing so much football just after coming out of school, it was a real bitter blow for me, and I just felt like I was always playing catch up after that. So it was a tough one, but I think obviously what doesn't break us makes us, and I always look back on that, and then it's the direction life took you, and it my business, my kids, what I'm doing now. So I try not to look back if I can, mate. Just forward only for me.
Yeah. Listen, the other day I was talking to our assistant manager, John Barney Barnes. I think you know him. He described you as a man's manager. I know you've had the opportunity to play football at a much higher level, but I was wondering if some of your experiences you've had with various coaches has shaped your management style today.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, mate, I've had some great coaches, I've had some terrible ones as well, and I think that's kind of, I just think that you always need an environment to set up where probably lads are not scared to make mistakes and express themselves, and as long as like there's structure there and you can kind of lay the law down when it needs laying down. I just don't think football needed to be as aggressive as a couple of environments I was in. Younger, I had a couple of really aggressive coaches within my time at Wigan Athletic who for certain reasons they don't coach now because they wouldn't get away with it now.
I think you mentioned Paul Jewell and was it Brendan O'Connell?
Brendan, like genuinely, mate. And I had a call off a lad like Brendan. I think he listened to one of them. He was a bit hurt by it, but it was only hurt because it was the truth. Do you know what I mean? And I'll always stand by it. He was way over aggressive, and Paul Jewell were the same. They weren't nice people, and I'd say that to the face. I'd say it on a podcast. I've nothing to hide about that. But then I had like your Dave Cromptons at Wigan Athletic, an absolute unbelievable man. Andy May, who was at Man City and at Wigan, an unbelievable person to play for. And they make you feel special and they make you want to do well for them. And that whole let someone's to blame for everything kind of culture and let's be hard on everyone. That's just not for me. Some people might like that. I don't. I try and have a decent kind of laid-back group where we can push each other in a better way than being in each other's faces. It's not something I believe in my work life. It's not something I believe in my home life. It's not something I believe in at football. But everybody's different, and in football, I think we're recognising pretty quickly that nothing seems right, nothing seems wrong. People do things their own way. I think just now, like over the last 5 years, especially with your Twitters, your Instas and all that, everyone now can have an opinion on absolutely everything. And you'll be judged on everything, whether you win, you lose. Like last week, I had someone on Twitter, a bit of a keyboard warrior, saying Coles are now crap because Clegg goes on 5 holidays a year and he's never there. and like all of that kind of stuff. So people's eyes are everywhere. But like I said, you know, they could walk a day in our shoes, being judged every Saturday at 5 o'clock just by a football result. Not many jobs in the world where you get judged as much as you do being a football manager. And that's why it's hats off to me for everyone who's involved in it.
Yeah, and you certainly get judged as a chairman as well, equally. But listen, you know, on the balance of that experience with the poor coaches, was that a reason why you sort of stepped away from football for a while? Because I think you said in your podcast, you went off the rails for a while. Did it get to a serious point where you felt as though you could, you know, make a life out of maybe petty criminality, or you could have gone completely off the rails?
Yeah, 100%, and that's what I've spoke about a lot. You know, I should have gone to prison. I had a tag for 12 months. You know, I did some bad things. You know, in terms of the lifestyle I was choosing, and then once obviously my girlfriend got pregnant with my first boy and stuff, I settled down. You know, I've not been an angel, but I think for all them bad choices I've made, I'd like to think I'm a decent lad. I've always, you know, tried chip into the local boxing club if lads can't afford the gear who've got fights, or whether it be like getting some football boots off my mates who still play at a good level and giving them out in my local town to lads who I've heard have got no money and are doing well. I've always tried to be nice, I've always tried to give back. I've got a big heart, but I just think when football kind of left me with nothing and you wanted to earn money and you'd not been college, you'd not been uni, crime was what I turned to kind of earn some money. Am I proud of it? No. But it happened, it shaped you, and then I think I'm kind of living proof that you can turn it around in a short space of time. So, and that's what I've done, you know. A few things like that come out of the woodwork when I was at Macclesfield. Every time we got a result, there's a paper clipping of something I got done for off the police, and underneath, and your family have to read it, your kids read it. So there's no secrets in our house anymore, do you know what I mean?
I didn't judge you on the stories I've heard about you, but from what I've read and looking at how far you've come in your football career, it's made the story a lot more interesting.
Yeah, and I think these times, I remember standing in court that day when I got slapped with a 2-year suspended sentence and a year tag and 300 hours community service, and that was a low point. That's where, like, it really is a life-changing moment. You're thinking, wow, I come with my bag today. I thought I was going to jail. You know, your mum's there, your dad's there, and your wife's at home pregnant with your first kid, and you're like, wow, what a game changer this has been. And then from there on in, I just knuckled down. I knuckled down at football. I knuckled down in work. You know, I got rid of the people around me who weren't great influences. And yeah, I just kicked on. And that's where sometimes, you know, it's been a bit of a mad ride for me. And I've not always been that open and honest about it. It was a tough few years, but yeah, I always thought kind of my talent were within football, and then, like you say, that's been a long ride, and 550 games in now, like I say, and there's been highs, there's been lows, but like I've absolutely loved the experience.
Well, you've mentioned Nicky Hunt in the past in terms of turning your life around a little bit, helping you. Not only a great friend, he was also your assistant manager. He's obviously took up the reins at Daisy Hill now. Is that going to be a big space to fill?
It's a really good move for Nicky. He's a Daisy Hill lad. He's wanted to dip his toe in but been unsure. And I think it's good at the moment, kind of where Coles are positioned and where Daisy Hill are positioned. You know, we can probably help them out a bit as well in terms of some recruitment. Our friendship's as strong as ever. It'll be great for Nicky. He's a great coach. It'll be different for him to kind of deliver some bad news. He normally leaves that to me. So I think it'll be good, and we'll still be there supporting each other. I've actually just been on the phone to him before this because it's his first session tonight. Just making sure he's feeling all right and what have you. So, yeah, it will be big shoes to fill. But I think like last year at Coles anyway, and kind of timing's perfect because one of the lads who were on the staff has been off now for 4 months because they've had a baby and a job promotion at work, and he's ready for coming back in at Coles. So it's probably all going to fall into place at the right time for everyone, that, to be honest.
Yeah, listen, what do you think? What do you make of the Daisy Hill situation?
To be fair, I didn't know that much about it. I mean, I live right near it, so I seen obviously the YouTubers were getting involved, but I'm just not up with it. It's more my kids who tell me, so I most found out when my kids wanted to go watching Daisy Hill one Saturday rather than us, and then when they explained it, I kind of got it. But I think it's good because I think anyone who can get football out there and got a bit of money and wants to get involved, it is good. You know how difficult it is. It's a poison chalice at times. You know, I used to speak to Rob Smethurst about it when we was at Mac a lot. They're like one of the best guys you've met, and some days he'd look at me and go like, why am I doing this? And I'm like, mate, I feel the same. And it's tough, and you know yourself how tough it is with what's been going on at your place at the moment. But it's in our blood. We all still think we can turn it round. We all still think we can win trophies. We all want to go on an incredible journey, whether it be a league run, an FA Cup run, and it's the dream, isn't it? I think it's what we crave. But it is tough. It's really tough. But I think the more the merrier who want to get in, and the more exposure you can get to non-league, the better. Because let's be honest, mate. I mean, you'd watch that Liverpool and Arsenal game on Sunday, and you'd have closed curtains if it were in your back garden, wouldn't you? And I think,
yeah. Well, I'm an Evertonian, so yeah, I'd do that automatically anyway. But
but I think non-league, you know, people see it. You go and socialise with people within your community, and probably have a couple of drinks and a pie and chips and a programme and an admission fee for £20, and that's the difference, making it affordable. And it's still nice to see, like, even at Coles, the players coming off sometimes, and there's some of them kids' heroes, you know, and I think it's still really good to have that at the level.
Yeah, listen, bearing in mind your experience as sort of trying to break through to the professional ranks in football, how difficult do you think the system is now for young players coming through academies and such like?
Mate, I could bore you with it for hours, so like, I'm lucky enough to still know a few stories within the Premiership because I've got a couple of mates in like decent places, and like that Jacob Ramsey story, I think at Villa at the moment is just an example of how dead the game is. You've got a lad who's been at Aston Villa since 6-year-old. He don't want to leave the club. He's offered to take a pay cut. The players don't want him to leave the club. The manager don't want him to leave the club, and the owners don't want him to leave the club. And he's had to leave the club due to this financial fair play and go to a club who knows that he felt that way. Like, that's a shambles. It should be the foreigners who have to go rather than the lads who've come through the English system. And I was saying to a couple of lads at training the other night, I'm dead passionate about it. I remember sitting down watching the European Cup and that Europa Cup, whatever it was, in the early 90s with my dad. And him having explained to me, yeah, Dennis Irwin can't play tonight because like a 3 foreigners rule. Yeah. Now, you know, and some kids don't even know that exists. I think Peter Schmeichel got left out of a couple of squads because of it. But yet we're bringing like internationals or lads from all over the world on when you see some of the English lads who are then falling into non-league and have it get the way back up. And I just think what's happened now is the Championship is like the old Premiership. The Premiership's now like a Super League. And it's just getting harder to find your way. You've got there's less talent coming through sometimes, I think, because you have to have an 18s, you have to have a 23s. So then some of your 23s people are keeping because they're cheap and they're not necessarily the better ones. The better ones are sometimes falling into non-league. It's mad. It's mad how it's ran, but that FFP at the moment, that's going to have to change because I know a couple of people inside the walls at United, and McTominay didn't want to go. United didn't want him to go, and then we had to get rid of him and bring Ugarte in. It's got to be the biggest downgrade in centre midfield history in the Premiership, that.
Yeah.
But then we had to go, but then still spent the money on someone worse. I mean, how does that work? I could talk all day about things what are happening in football at the moment. It's crazy. And listen, I still go to United whenever I can. I'll still go and watch Bolton when I can. My good mate's manager at Northampton, I'll watch them if I can. And I still love it, but give me like a conference and below game any day of the week before a professional game.
See, listen, your 2 boys, they're coming through the system themselves. Are they still at Salford, are they? Or?
No, so that was another thing. So Salford, absolutely fantastic with my kids. Such a good club. But then my kids, they weren't really like me. They're both really good players, but the football's just not the life. They've seen a new life. They enjoy going on an holiday. They enjoy going on a bike ride. They enjoy one of them enjoys playing basketball. One enjoys just going out with his mates. So for them, they were like, we love it, Dad, but we just want to play with our mates because we don't love it enough to train for 2.5 hours 3 times a week and then play Saturday, Sunday. So that was a mad one for me to take because I think everyone thought I'd be pushing. I was like, well, listen, like if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. And the oldest one, Salford, were really disappointed because he was flying. He's on a 2-year contract. He walked out on that 8 months in. And I think they had high hopes for him. He was doing well. But my 10-year-old, still one of them, loads of ability, turns up when he wants, good one week, not so good next week, and bit of a character. But they were great with us, Salford. And with the older lad, they were very much, look, let him go and explore life because he only come into football late, you see. And then he's loved it. He's been bloody on jet skis all summer at my mates in Abersock, and I think sometimes football's probably not in his top 5 priorities. He just ends up that he's pretty good at it. So he's playing a game tonight before we go training, but then he's already planning a party for Friday and stuff. So yeah, I think they've just been brought up in an house again where they've been able to make a few of their own decisions, and I don't think it's life or death to them. And I think sometimes they hear me on the phone and all that, and they see probably the highs, the lows, and stuff like that. And sometimes they're like, I just don't love it as much as my dad type thing.
And it's refreshing, really, to know that they're not getting pressure from the parents, and they weren't getting pressure from Salford either, which seems to be unusual these days.
Salford Academy's getting better every week, and it were really humbling, mate, because Alfie went in for his 1-to-1 at Salford, his last 1-to-1 before he decided to leave, and they talked about pushing him up an age and playing with a year up to be physically challenged and stuff. And I think one of the coaches, because Alfie's very much not your modern day academy player. Alfie heads everything, kicks everything, tackles everything. He's quick, he's strong. He's a bit like a John Terry, a Vidic type, So, and one of them said, like, where's that style come from? And when I listened to it just pour out of his mouth, he's quite a quiet kid. It was amazing hearing it. He said, well, I hear my dad on phone when I'm in car or when I'm at home and talking about lads not working hard enough, and I've watched his teams over the year, and that's what they built on. And honestly, it was emotional, just hearing it coming out, and he's like, everything kind of what I hear and see and feel, that I feel that's made me who I am on the pitch. And I thought, bloody hell, like I've never even thought of it like that. It was like, to me, working hard, heading, kicking, blocking, passing to your own team, being a good teammate, it's kind of a non-negotiable off what I hear, and they were like, well, that's how you are. He's a good team player, Alf. Everyone wants him on the team because he gives you everything every week, where other ones a bit of a prima donna. He likes doing step overs when no one's around him and all that. So that again, mate, that's the benefit of non-league, isn't it? My 2 lads come watching Coles or Mac or whoever it was, and it's never, how many goals you scored today? It's always, how many did you smash today? Did you get in people's faces and that? And I think it's kind of a non-league thing, isn't it?
But I certainly think you can impress them by watching what you're doing rather than what you're saying directly to them.
100%, and it definitely filters through. And they're lovely kids, and I think they've probably made a wise choice because, like I said, we're lucky enough that the business is going all right. They have a couple of holidays a year. They've seen a lot more of the world at their age than I'd have ever dreamed of at my age. So, like, our Alfie already at 14, he's like, I think I'm going to probably go into DJing, talk world, and then I'll come back and set your business when I'm 25. He's kind of got it mapped out. And youngest one. Yeah, so listen, I think the good thing is with them, they know that there's more to life than football. Where with me, I didn't. In my life, was done at 19 when I got released. I didn't think there were anything out there for me. So I've kind of been able to share them experiences with them for a younger age. That not all your eggs in one basket.
Probably the thing that we don't realise ourselves is there is a life outside the football walls, isn't there?
100%, and when I come out of it with Mac for a bit, when I come out of it from Ashton for a bit, I love them Saturdays. Getting up, going watching my mates' team with no pressure of 3 points, and then sticking to your plans on a Saturday night, because we all know you can get turned over on a Saturday and you like that to Mrs. driving home.
Yeah.
You know, I don't fancy going showing my face there tonight, or I'm not in the mood, and it's not good, really. Listen, there's loads of good points what come from it.
But it still has a way of dragging you back in, doesn't it?
Well, that's it, mate, and that's the thing, and that's why I'm sat in a car now, ready to take a session of 20 lads in like 40 minutes.
Listen, we'll come to the FA Cup defeat in a minute, but it's fair to say that back in, maybe 20 years ago, the townsfolk wouldn't have invested so much time in the two Atherton Cups. So this flat cap derby shows how far both clubs have come in recent years.
100%, yeah. I mean, look, I supported LR as a boy, LR and United. I used to go with my dad. If United was away, I would go and watch LR. I'd go to Tuesday night games, get a Bovril and an hot dog with my dad and all that kind of stuff. And I have had some great times. So when I managed LR, it was a really proud moment for like me and my family. They were like my second team. But obviously I'm with Coles now, and I'm 320 odd. I think 350, 320 up to 350 games for them. Yeah. And I'd never lost one of them until Saturday. And genuinely, as one of my lowest points in football on Saturday, I turned my phone off, not about 7-8 o'clock Saturday, and I turned it back on Sunday morning. And I could not believe how many messages I got about the interview in all my years.
Well, I was going to mention that because I witnessed the raw emotion you displayed following the FA Cup defeat.
Yeah, and I think it was good to see, because I think sometimes what's been questioned over the last few months for me is, what's his intentions? Why, he got as high as Mac, and then he's back at Coles, and people see me missing odd game now because of work and all that, and is he as bothered? And I've had all of that, and I think it were nice for people to probably see that it still hurts, and
and yet a lot of people in life. Yeah, a lot of people will criticise the fact that you've shown that raw emotion, but I actually felt the pain with you, and I've listened to it 3 times now. But people that are not involved in football can't quite understand how draining it is on the heart and the soul.
And that's it, mate. And do you know what, right? So you come out of the dugout, you come out of the changing rooms at LR, and all the fans that are always before the dugouts, yeah? So I walked past that, I must have had old school mates, lads I've not seen for years from the town. So I've moved away from Atherton about a year ago. Not too far, but I just don't see everyone as often as I did. And I was making sure I said hi to anyone, didn't ignore anyone. Got both of my lads, mates from schools, families, a few at like football mums and dads had come because they'd been talking about it Saturday morning. And then for my team to represent me like that, it hurt. It hurt massively. And the issue that I had was I wasn't willing to accept that. And I had to watch it. I had to go in the clubhouse after, because I can't just leave and everyone think I'm humble when I win and I'm humble when I lose. And I made sure I went in there and I bought people a couple of beers and I apologised to who I needed to apologise to, and I showed my face and I made sure our lads did. And then we went back to our own clubhouse and we sat with our fans till 7:30 who felt the pain as well, because I made the lads do that. Which was good, because then by the time we all left there at 7:30, we'd already had the wrath of the fans, the chairman, and all of that. He's a lovely fella who doesn't say much, but it weren't good enough. No. And the thing is as well, I weren't willing to have the back on Saturday, because they'd had more prep for that game than ever. We trained around that game. They'd had video on that game, and I weren't willing to accept that there were any excuses.
Well, you've said you were
made to look big time, and we're not big time.
Well, you said you were shell shocked, and you described it as an absolute shambles. But have you actually shown anyone the door yet, or have you managed to give your head a little bit of a wobble?
No, yeah. So I let 2 go pretty quickly, and then I've brought a couple in this week. So there's going to be no place in the squad Saturday for a couple of them, and they can just feel our pain. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like Saturday, or when they're going to have to tell the friends and family, oh, how come you're not in the squad, or whatever it is, they can say, because I didn't want to run last week. I didn't want to earn me money last week. And also, when you're a non-contract player, what else is going to come this weekend is some people are not going to pick up a wage. They need to feel it all. Yeah. Because it comes too easy to some people. And I think last week were poor, and it probably don't get any worse than that.
Is it as simple as that, though, Michael? Because have they put the effort in, or did they just totally not put any effort in whatsoever, or has it just been a bad day at the office?
So we've conceded like 3 goals from crosses into the box when we've got 4 lads in there 6 foot plus, and not one of their lads was. So that comes down to desire. And then some of our lads didn't want to run, they didn't want to block, they didn't want to tackle, they didn't want to compete for second balls. So they got told, and that was because some of them would have thought they was better than the LR players, which I still believe they are. But I've been an underdog, barring Macclesfield. I've been an underdog wherever I've been, and I thrive at that. So I knew what were coming our way Saturday. And, you know, in the team talk, we've done all our analysis in the week, but I spoke to the lads about my experience on the Wednesday. I took our Louis to Grimsby and I watched it all unfold in front of my eyes. And I said, we can't be Man United today because the gap from United to Grimsby is huge. The gap to LR and Coles is tiny. So they can't outwork us because that's what we built on. And we spoke about how physically bigger and stronger we just looked on the pitch in the warm-up. We hardly had a lad under 6 foot, and they out-battled us, they outran us, and we got what we deserved. And that's why I shook every LR's player's hand, and I told the management how well they'd done, and I didn't want to take anything away from them, but we was absolutely dire.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Davey does a really good job there. He's got a very well-drilled team, and to be beaten by them because, like you say, that a division below would have been a huge disappointment. But just briefly, because you mentioned, I know you're a big Manchester United fan there. What do you think about the Grimsby defeat in terms of, do you think they deserved a second chance, a second bite at the apple when we found out they'd fielded an ineligible player, or do you think they've got the just desserts?
No, I think Grimsby 1,000,000% deserved to go through, and I think if United would have got it turned around, it'd have been a shambles. However, if that was in non-league, you're getting done for it. If that was any other team in FA Cup, you're going through, aren't you? So I think that's the Man United treatment there. They probably should. Whether he come on, he didn't. It's an admin error, and it were only 2 years ago that I was 2 minutes into my first league game for Ashton, and our secretaries come up to me and said, we've already lost this game. I've not signed 2 at lads on properly. Yeah. So, and you know, so I've felt that before. But, however, I was speaking to our Lou about it because we were 2-0 down, shocking. Bear in mind they had 2 disallowed. We should have been 4-0 down. Crikey. We got it back to 2-2. Sesko's missed an open net last kick of the game to win it. Then we winning on penalties. Coonan needs to stick it away to win it. So our Louis, he's up, he's down, he's high, he's low. And then we get beat. And then it was a tough night. Like, coming out of Grimsby's, bit of fighting everywhere. It were rougher than I thought. And I just said to him, I said, wow, Dad, like, what a night. I said, mate, that's football and that's called character building. And you'll probably tell this story for years to come when me and your dad went Grimsby one night, and you'll remember it for life, mate. And it's what makes us. You know, I remember them nights with Grandad and stuff like that, walking out of games early and hearing people score late, and you missed it because they've been that bad. They shape you as a person. But yeah, I think Grimsby that night just showed you roll your sleeves up, you have a game plan, you take a big heart onto the pitch with a little bit of quality, and the results are there to be had, because some of these lads these days, they don't want to be pressed, they don't want to be tackled, they don't want to be ran at because they feel like they're too good, and I think like ego takes over, doesn't it? But if you kind
of they'd sooner stay on a big stage, wouldn't they, rather than get injured or give it all.
Of course they would. We see it all the time, don't we? And how many times see we
even at our level, to be fair. You know, it happens at our level as well.
100%, and you see it at our level with like ex-pros. I mean, listen, there's been some unbelievable ex-pros come in, like Nicky Adams and Luke Joyce at Radcliffe. They were shining examples about coming to non-league and nail it. But there's been some shockers where people have come down, get a pay packet, and then faked injuries when they're on contracts and tried to rip clubs off and all of that. And that's the ugly side of it you don't see. But it's hard, isn't it, when you drop so far, I think. But I've had many a good and bad example of that.
Yeah. Listen, it's been a difficult start to the season for you. I think you mentioned after the FA Cup defeat that the two wins you had over the bank holiday weekend, it could have gone either way. But are there any sort of room for excuses, or are there any mitigating circumstances? You're looking towards the FA Cup trophy at Saturday as a chance to rectify things and get back on board in the league.
Yeah, 100%. We've not been good enough, but it's still very early. And, you know, when we played Linnets, we got beat 2-0 first game of season. They deserve to beat us. However, we've had a perfectly good goal because now we've got VO disallowed to make it 1-1 on 73 minutes. And we're in the ascendancy at home. You know, that goal goes in and gets ruled in, which it should have. It's not even close to being offside. Then it's a different game, and then we go away to Stalybridge. We got beat 1-0. Anyone can lose at Stalybridge. But then on VO as well, we've got a free kick on edge at box in 86 minutes. And when you've watched VO back, he's a foot inside the box. Yeah. Should be a penalty, you know. And then we play lower break, and we've had a lad wrongly sent off after 18 minutes. And we get beat 5-2, conceded 2 in 90th, and we've had chances equalise at 3-0 with 10 men. However, they were brilliant. So it's been tight. But then at Newcastle Town, we should have probably won more comfortably. But then Clitheroe, we probably deserved to win, but it could have gone either way. So I think the league's just so tight. You have a bad day, you're getting beat. It's as simple as that. And
everybody assumes that.
Better.
Well, I was going to say, everybody assumes that non-league football has been watered down a bit, but it's actually really, really competitive at all levels, isn't it?
100%. Listen, Lower Breck absolutely popped us and picked us apart in that first half at Coles the other week. It was the best away first half performance I've seen at Coles in a long, long time. And I've had a lot of good teams come and face us. And I said that. I made sure I clapped and I shook every one of their hands, staff, players, the lot.
How good are they?
They were good. They were just, for me, it's consistency. They have the similar 11 out a lot. They all know the job roles. They're all happy digging it out. They're all happy playing. They play a good, exciting brand. They're intense. They're quick. And they'll take some stopping if they don't have injuries. I've said that. I've said that to people at the start of the season. So they've not surprised me. Not surprised me at all. But they're decent. But I think our league going to be tough because I think Mackerel still get berry flying. Stalybridge were good when we played them. Runcorn was strong. I know Chasetown are really strong. I think Stafford are strong this year. I still think we'll come good. So it's a long season in it, and I think it's whoever keeps the best players fit.
Some of these teams that I'm just saying, some of the teams that you've mentioned there, if you go back a decade ago, you wouldn't have been speaking so highly about those teams.
No, I get it, yeah. And you know, now it's tough football. You know, people kind of get money one year and have a go. People then like drop off, or people change managers and he takes his players to that club. So it's unpredictable, non-league. You don't really know what's coming until like you're 10, 12 games in. So we just need to concentrate on ourselves now. But obviously with the FA Trophy, and then if you win Saturday, you have another game. This is a point where like you can get to like start of October and you've not even played 7 or 8 games. It's a mad time. This you can go out of the cups and then win a few league games, find yourself at top of table with teams like 4 games in hand on you. But then them games then become Saturday, Tuesday, and then people get injured and stuff. So I've seen it all. Is
it a good interference, the FA Trophy or the cup competitions? Does it give you the time to build?
I think when you earn a bit of money, don't you? You can draw someone good, but I always think no one at our level is going to win it. So I think if you don't need the money, you know, get out of there as quick as you can if you're just there to win the league. But I've had some great days in that. Beat Boston at home at Coles in front of 750 in FA Trophy. That was my last game before I went to Ashton. Last year I've managed in semi-final at FA Trophy away at Gateshead for Mac. Beat Colville in front of 5,000 in the quarter-final at home. So I've had some great days in them both. You know, so...
Well, listen, I can't let you go without asking you a little bit about Macclesfield, because you've had some big clubs in the non-league, so your CV's second to none, but they don't come much bigger than Macclesfield. What was it like working under Robbie Savage? What do you think about his move to Forest Green Rovers? Has that taken the shine and the gloss off Macclesfield a little bit?
No, I think that the place will be a better place without him there. He's doing well at Forest Green, but I mean, you should be with that budget. Do you know what I mean? They should be winning that league this year, and like Mac should have done last year, and I would have won it with Mac last year. So it's what I love my time there. Met a lot of very, very good people, worked with a lot of really good players, and I have nothing other than positive things to say about the club. Obviously, everybody knows me and Sav didn't get on. And that is what it is. And he's a difficult person to deal with, but no one can argue with his manager's record so far. You know, he's put himself. I've probably got more respect for him now than I ever have because he's actually gone out there and done it. So you can't knock him for doing that. And then he's landed on a good move, and he should go and win another league with them.
He's certainly shocked his ex-chairman, hasn't he? Though moving away from Macclesfield, I don't think he was expecting it.
Yeah, it's not his ex-chairman, it's his best friend.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? There's a difference, isn't there? And that's where I think just some people are different in life. I won't think I could do that to my best mate, but I think sport's ruthless. There's a lot of selfish people in one, and I think he's been very selfish in what he's done, you know, but the proof's in the pudding. He's now top at conference, flying, playing attacking brand of football. So at the same time, if he's wanted better himself, he has done, and fair play to him.
Yeah. Listen, final question. Because we've hit on it before, football definitely lives sort of rent-free in both of our heads. But how does Michael Clegg relax away from football?
Just try to be a good dad, really, and just give everything to my kids and work. Work's going well at the moment, so we have like a window cleaning business, which is national, which incorporates like abseiling and all that, and then we have like a rope access maintenance firm where we like fit glass, do new ceiling jobs, and work on things like, you know, your big Primarks, Manchester Arndale, Centre Parks, all of that. So that takes up a lot of my time. But for me, I think people know because I'm pretty active on social media. I just love getting away in the sun at any opportunity whenever I can, just
I think we noticed that on Granada Reports, didn't we? You were quite glowing.
That was the light. There's no way I'm that bad. I've been stitched up there.
I didn't know whether it was. I didn't know whether it was the sun or it was the reflection of Davies'
definitely
head.
Not my colour.
No.
Someone commented saying, "Have you been on holiday to Chernobyl?" That would be personal favourite.
Yeah.
But no, I enjoy getting away. I got a really good group of mates, so like I still enjoy going watching football where I can try and set me emotional attachment. I enjoy watching my boys play and just doing things like a normal lad would do, really. But yeah, I've enjoyed getting away. But I've actually this year, the last 12 weeks, I've been on a bit of a fitness regime. So I've been in the gym every day and all that. So I'm quite enjoying that at the moment. But I change my mind on things like that quite often. But this time I've stuck to it a bit longer than normal.
Listen, I could speak to you forever about football. You're quite a fascinating character, like I said at the top of the show.
I appreciate your kind words. I really, really do.
Yeah, listen, best of luck on Saturday at Silsden.
Thank you.
And best of luck for the rest of the season. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
No problem at all.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Cheers, mate. I'll see you later.
See you later. Bye now. A heartfelt shout out to all the businesses supporting Skelmersdale United Football Club, especially T&W Garners and Pedro de Seda Enterprises. Thank you to everyone who donates to the club, supports our race nights, raffles, lottery bonus ball scheme and the weekly draw in conjunction with NYCBA. A special thanks to those who organise such fundraising events, with a particular mention for the incredible Lee Davis and Rowena Hughes. To everyone who stands by us both on and off the pitch, we are truly grateful. If you wish to sponsor the show, please contact me at chairman.skemutbfc@gmail.com or alternatively call me on 077 66 054 548. All proceeds will go to Skelmersdale United Football Club. Thank you for your unwavering support. Hello and welcome to the third and final part of the Speaking Frankly football show, and an absolutely fascinating interview with Michael Clegg there that sort of sums up the passion and the frustration of football. Have I said something wrong?
No, not at all. But the viewers will already have listened to that and know full well that it was just you and him. So no, absolutely no doubt that.
Should we explain ourselves?
We should. So
there was a little bit of miscommunication between AJ and I, which meant that we thought we were starting at 5:30, and we ended up starting recording at 8:00.
We did.
Now, by the time we get finished, we'll both be Cinderella.
We will be running away from the ball. But moreover, it meant, unfortunately, that I missed the interview with Michael Clegg. But I know what a passionate manager he is. I know how much he feels. Being Atherton Collieries manager, he's a local lad. It's in his blood. But after the interview that he gave in club after the loss to LR, it was wonderful to see how many of his fans backed him to make the right moves going forward. They clearly trust in him. They clearly want things to change, but they don't want him to change or to leave. And I think having a stable fan base behind you is one of the most vital things that a manager can have.
Well, he said that the Atherton fans are the most forgiving supporters in the country, and they've always been like that. But they deserve honesty.
Certainly do.
That was the key words from him, is that they deserve a little bit of honesty from the manager, whether he's got it right or wrong, or it's the players. It's not particularly seen as throwing players under the bus. Sometimes you need to tell them as it is, and sometimes the supporters need an explanation, not just from the managers but the players as well.
Yeah, I think
so it's quite refreshing, but it does pose that question, like I've said before, in terms of your mental health. Has anybody involved in the the cutthroat nature of any football club, whether it be non-league or right at the top of the Premier League, it has a huge impact on your mental health.
Massively, yeah. As you say, being a chairman or being a manager, it can be a very, very lonely place. And you've talked before quite candidly about how the existence of Skelmersdale United and the future of it is causing you sleepless nights, really. And it wouldn't surprise me if there are managers, chairmen, players up and down the country who are, suffering the same kind of existential difficulty, because of the responsibilities and the pressures that being involved in this sport, can take. And that's not even accounting for referees or players that have made a howl.
Yeah, we don't really mention referees in terms of their mental health.
No, we're very quick to judge them based on their decision making and their performances, but we never really see how that impacts them off the pitch. So if you are an amateur referee or a non-league referee and you want to come on the show, please message us in.
Particularly if you've struggled with your mental health.
Yeah. Please post your message to us, signing it. We really don't hate referees at the Speaking Frankly Football Show. Dalton Skelmersdale.
They'll all be coming to burn me house down. Anyway, moving on to the fixtures for the weekend, and we're predominantly talking about the North West Counties and Liverpool County Premier League.
Yep.
So we'll try and go through these as quick as we possibly can, because it's been a long show. We've returned to a Thursday night recording this week, so we could actually get Michael Clegg on the show. But listen, we'll talk about Friday's fixture, which is tonight. Exton Villa versus FC St Helens. Which way do you see this one going?
I think after their win against Burscough, I think FC St Helens are on the run there, so I'm going to say away win.
I agree with you there. I'd have normally said Exton Villa, but then, you know what, I don't think they've particularly had the greatest of starts anyway, have they?
Exton Villa. They... Do you know what? For a team that's been newly promoted, it's applaudable. So they're sitting in 17th right now. So they got 7 points from their opening 7 games.
Don't say it's not a bad start when you're taking the step up.
It's a win and 4 draws.
Feeling the way around.
Exactly. So that's 1 win, 4 draws, 2 losses. That's fine. Mm-hmm. That's fine. And I think Matt Atherton will be absolutely okay with that at the minute. You know, his team are performing steadily with the majority of the players playing from last season as well. So, you know, 1 or 2 new additions, and I'm sure they'll be absolutely fine. But now that we've spoken about Villa, we will race through some of the fixtures on Saturday. So, Abbey Hay versus Paddingham.
Listen, there's only one winner as far as I'm concerned there.
Same here, Abbey Hay.
Paddingham.
Yes, Paddingham.
Yeah. Bearscough versus the FC Isle of Man.
Same there. It's really only one winner and it's Bearscough.
Yeah, I'll go for that. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if the Isle of Man rock the boat a little bit there before they go back on the boat. You know what I mean? But listen, Chadderton versus Longridge Town. That's Chadderton for me all day long.
Same.
AJ and FH for that. Charnock Richard versus City of Liverpool.
Home win.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to go for a home win, but I wouldn't be surprised if...
it's a close game, that
you
one.
know, City of Liverpool after beating AFC Liverpool, whether that's pumped them up a little bit.
Yeah, but Charnock Richard are a bit of a different animal, especially at Mozzie Park. You know, so I think for me that is a Charnock Richard win by maybe the odd goal or 2. But this one is going to be a very difficult game to call. Cheadle Town versus Atherton LR.
I don't think it is difficult in one sense, because after the Lord Mayor's show, you know, there could be a big dip, couldn't there?
Could be.
You know, Atherton have had this fantastic cup victory, and then they're probably focused a little bit too early on the game against Macclesfield. But Cheadle are doing sort of mid-table, 8 points out of 7 games.
Yeah.
Everton are a point better off, having played 2 games less.
It is, it's a bit
I'm going for it. I'm going for Everton.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Only just.
Glossop North End versus Pilkington. Both in a similar position.
Yeah, but I'm rooting for Brodie on this one. We want them to win a game.
And he feels as though they're not that far off.
I don't think they ever are that far off. I think there's just been too many results that have fallen the wrong side of too far off, unfortunately. Earlham versus Prestwich Hayes, that seems like a home win for me there.
Yeah, I'm backing you up on that one. Ramsbottom United versus AFC Liverpool.
That's the same.
Yeah, going for Ramsbottom as well. South Liverpool versus West Didsbury and Chorlton. It depends which South Liverpool turns up. They're doing all right, aren't they?
They are. They've had 4 wins from their opening 7 games. They haven't drawn any, so the other 3 have been losses. They are a very leaky... they're not. They're actually quite free scoring away from home, but at home, they've scored 2 goals at home and conceded 7. And I think that's maybe where West Didsbury and Chorlton can take a bit of an advantage. They themselves have only played 5 games and have accrued 7 points from that. Yet to win at home, but have won 2 games away.
Yeah, they've won both games, haven't they?
They have. So I'm going to say an away win.
Based on that, I'll go for West Didsbury and Chorlton as well, yeah.
Okay.
Stockport Town versus Litherland.
It's a home win for me.
Right, okay. AJ for that. I'll go for Litherland. Wythenshawe versus Barnoldswick Town.
Home win again.
Yeah. Listen, I'll go along with you there. We're getting to that stage now where we're agreeing with each other far too often. God. So we move on to Division 1 North.
Yeah.
AFC Blackpool versus Main Road.
These are 2 bloody topsy-turvy teams here. There's no consistency in them at all. It's a draw.
I'm going for Main Road.
Fine.
And you're going for a AJ draw.
Yes.
Ashton Town versus Squiresgate. I really don't know how to call that at all, but I want Ashton Town to win it, so I'm going for Ashton Town.
I am also going for Ashton Town.
Bacup Borough versus Steeton. Well, this will tell you a lot about whether Steeton are genuine title contenders and whether Bacup themselves, after their opening win, can maintain that winning start.
Yeah, it is really a bizarre set of circumstances, but
A bit too early for them.
it is. I think it could be a little bit too early for them. Steeton aren't fresh, but they are very good. They're on a very good run at the minute. 2 wins away from home as well. They're unbeaten away from home all season from the 5 games that they've played. But nonetheless, I think that'll be a really good test of their credentials here, really. I don't know whether I expect them to win that one, though. So I am going to say a draw, particularly as the Bryan Boys Westview Stadium is a particularly hazardous place to go for any team at the best of times.
You originally said it was going to be a Steeton win. Now you've changed your mind to a draw?
No, I don't think I ever said that Steeton
I
was going
thought
to
you
win.
did. I thought you backed me up on that one. So you're going for a draw?
I am going for a draw.
Okay, we'll go for a draw for AJ then.
Ooh, the Battle of the Fallen Giants next.
Yeah, after Ginge Power Stadium.
Crass.
Listen, it's not worked too well for either team at the moment, but with a bit of a kick on with a new manager with Nicky Hunter.
Well, both of them are going to have a bit of a kick on with a new manager, aren't they?
With a home advantage, maybe.
No,
Decent crowd.
I don't think so. No, I think with the player power that they've got behind them, I think this is Nelson's to win. They both play on a grass pitch, so that's not going to do them any favours either. So I'm going to say an away win there.
You know what? You've talked me into it. I'm going to back it up on that one. I'm going to go the same way myself.
Just call me Ian Wright.
Yeah, Ian Wright is right. Darwin FC versus Fullwood Amateurs. Well, Fullwood Amateurs are doing relatively well, aren't they?
Yeah, they have. They have. They've had a really strong start to the season. Very positive from their opening half a dozen games or so. 8 points accrued, which is 2 wins and 2 draws. Whereas Darwin are yet to kick on.
These long division tables, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Darwin are really kind of yet to kick on, to be honest, in the manner that we hoped. Yeah, they lost the Tower derby, which is very disappointing. I'm
going for a draw.
I'm also going for a draw there.
All right. Droylsden versus Cone. I'm going for Droylsden.
I am also going for Droylsden.
Garstang versus MSB Woolton.
Yes.
MSB Woolton haven't had a particularly good start. No. I'm going for Garstang at home.
Stop agreeing with me. That's the 4th fixture in a row.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? But
yes.
Holker Old Boys versus Ashton Athletic. Always feel as though Holker are better at home than they are away. Ashton not particularly having it their way either. 3 points out of a possible 12, so I'm going for Holker.
Yeah.
Very difficult not to.
It is. And then Thornton Clevelands versus McGull. So, I mean, that's got to be a win,
McGull,
really.
I'm hoping it's going to be McGull anyway.
Backing our buddies over the M58 there.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to Division 1 South.
Yes.
Allscott Heath versus Alsager.
Away win.
You reckon?
No. Yeah, I do. It's a draw. It's going to be a draw for me.
A draw? Yeah, listen, I'm going to go for a draw as well. Copying off you again there. But Camellards versus Telford Town. I'm going for Telford Town.
So am I.
Yeah, Cheadle Heath Nomads versus Market Drayton. I want Market Drayton to win.
So do I.
So I'm going for them.
It's a difficult one against the Nomads, though, so I am going to say a draw on this one.
Right, okay. I've just scribbled that out because I thought you were going to go the same way as me. Never mind.
Dare to be different.
Yeah. Eccleshall versus Barnton.
Difficult one. Eccleshall 8th, Barton 6th.
Home.
I'm going to say Barnton.
Yeah, I'm going to go home advantage and say Eccleshall or Eccleshall are going to win that one. And you're going for the away team. Hoffman versus
Hammond. Hammond.
Yeah, Human.
Hoffman.
Listen, you'd have expected somebody by now. Nobody's obviously listening from there.
Nobody from Hammond.
But all amongst our many listeners, nobody is actually paying attention to us from that neck of the woods.
The closest we're going to get is Market Drayton, isn't it? Let's be honest. I don't even know where Hammond is.
So, listen, I'm going for Asheville on that one.
I am also going for Asheville on that one.
Runcorn Town versus New Mills. Runcorn Town.
Yeah, but only just. That's going to be a cracker of a game, that one.
Yeah.
As is this one. Sandbach United versus Stafford Town.
Well, off the back of that massive 9-0 win, you'd think they'd...
Yeah, you'd think they'd carry a bit of weight into this game. But Stafford Town, as they do, setting the pace in the Premier in the First Division South here. They're sitting in third at the minute, but only by virtue of a point, having played a game less than Telford Town. I am going to say an away win, but only just.
Yeah, I'm going along with that.
Mm-hmm.
So Stockport Georgians versus Shawbury United.
Home win.
Yeah, go along with that.
Stop it.
So that concludes
no,
the Northwest Counties.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Wolverhampton Casuals.
There's 2 pages.
Versus Foley Mere.
Yeah. Well,
it's the Casuals, not the.
I know you have to be careful. You don't get mixed up with the 2 here.
Yeah,
Foley Mere are doing all right, so I'm going to go for Foley Mere.
I'm going to go for Wolverhampton Casuals because occasionally they do extremely well.
Yeah. So we're going to look at next week's fixtures as well, but if we do briefly, we won't really. Are we going to give predictions on it or not?
Yeah, there's a couple that I wanted to point out. Atherton LR versus Chadderton.
That's an interesting one.
That's a really good game, that one. Atherton, home advantage counts for an awful lot, where Chadderton, as long as they've got Lewis Simon Byrne, they could do near enough anything on any given day. And I think this is probably the biggest test to Atherton LR's renowned defensive structure. So I am going to say Atherton LR, but only just.
I'm going to go for a draw. Yeah. Any more interesting ones out of that? City of Liverpool versus Earlham. Can't see City of Liverpool beating Earlham, so I'm going to go for Earlham.
Fine. I also will be going for Earlham there.
It's a really difficult one for Richard Brodie. Crikey. At a time he doesn't really want that kind of game. Yeah,
he's travelling up to the to East Lancashire, to the Ruby Civil Arena, where his side face unbeaten Padiham. You can only really see that going one way, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm afraid to say the same thing myself. And please do forgive me, Richard. Yeah. I really, really do hope you win that.
So do we.
But I think the best you could probably achieve is a draw there, based on past. Yeah. The history in the season so far. But listen, best of luck. If you kick on from, you have a really good result against Pilkington at the weekend, then it might set you up really nice and give you a bit of confidence for that game.
100%.
Yeah. So looking at any of the others, fixtures there.
The only other one that I want to look at is Exton Villa versus Burscough. So Exton Villa, a steady start but not spectacular. Whereas Burscough, Dave Dempsey's team are just kind of flying at the minute, really. They had that bit of a stinker against
South Liverpool.
FC St.
Helens,
yeah. But otherwise, I wonder whether they will kind of get back to winning ways here against Villa. It's a very difficult ground to go.
I don't think they will.
Particularly on a cold Tuesday night. So can they do it on a cold Tuesday night in Exton? That is the question.
Exton play extremely well at home. It's a lovely surface as well. It's a brand new 3G pitch, isn't it?
Ooh.
You know what I mean? So they
paid for by the students.
Yeah. So I think I'm going for Exton Villa on that one to shock Burscough.
I'm going to go for a draw because I think it's going to be 2 really good attacking teams there. We know obviously about Burscough. They Christian Makoko, who played extremely well recently. He's on a bit of a hot streak. They've always in danger
I've watched him a few times. He's a spectacular talent.
He is, and they've also got Callum Laird, who we know on his day can be a goal scorer from a different planet. But don't write off Exton Villa by any stretch. They've got some good attacking fullbacks. Jack Wires, Roebuck, Torres, Havoc. When we visited the Jim Fowler Memorial Ground last season, and their top scorer at the minute, Raj Singh, scoring goals for fun. So it could be a draw for me. Yeah,
listen, just moving on to Division 1 South. There's no games in Division 1 North on the Tuesday, but the only one I can pick out of that really is Alsager Town versus Stafford, and I think Stafford are going to win that myself.
So do I.
Apart from that, Market Drayton at home to Wolverhampton Casuals. I see Market Drayton winning that one.
Yeah, so do I. I think that'll be a good one for Dan Dawson to get a win there.
We're not going to mention Wednesday because we'll be back to recording next Wednesday.
Yes,
so.
we will. So that we can drag that over Wednesday's show.
Yeah, we certainly will. So that does conclude the fixtures in the Northwest Counties, which moves us swiftly on to Skelmersdale United Football Club.
Yes.
As we reported in last week's show after our 7-2 victory over FC King Harry decided that they were no longer, they decided to withdraw from their throne. What's the word for it?
Abdicate.
They decided to abdicate, and they decided to abdicate, and as a direct result of that, we lost our
3
points. So we've
and
only
our 5-goal difference, which would have put us to +4, which is the third healthiest in the division. But never mind.
And oddly, I'm going to look very, very quickly at the league table. I printed it off somewhere, and I know it's stupid, really, because I can't find it now. Where is it? Oh, there it is, yeah. Have you got two of them? No. Right, so I was looking at it, and there's a lot of games that are played, 3 games at this stage. The Grenadier, who are top of the league, alongside Joey Oars, who also beat us in our opening game. So they're looking good at the top at the moment. Yeah. Sefton Athletic, who we play on Saturday, are unbeaten and have got 6 points. They've only played 2 games.
They have, but they've had a really good start. They battered Halewood Apollo 5-0 in their first game, and they followed that up with an impressive 3-1 win against MSB Woolton Reserves to put them into a grand setup coming into this game.
Interestingly, when you're looking at the league, you look at it there, and we played 1 game, and the 2 teams directly below us, River Football Club and MSB Woolton Reserves, they played 3 games and 2 games respectively, and they're below us.
Sounds good.
And we played only 1 game, so that sounds good. Above us, which is quite disconcerting, really, is the fact that the newly abdicated team FC King Harry are still in the league table just above us. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that worked out at all, because we battered them 7-2, but hey ho.
Fine.
Yeah, fine. It is what it is. So we know what our fixture is. Our opening game at the Marine Travel Arena. We're really, really looking forward to it. It's a 3 o'clock kick-off. Going to just go run through some of the other fixtures at the weekend.
Yeah.
So starting off on Friday tonight, the Grenadier are playing Daysbrook. Now, Daysbrook, they've got 3 points out of 3 games.
No, they're not. Whoa, hold up. That game's been postponed.
Has it been postponed? Oh, this is the problem with this, isn't it? You can't see what's been postponed. Yeah, send a notice of me. So that's been postponed. We've got River Football Club versus MSB Woolton. So the bottom of the table battle at the Geoffrey Humble Leisure United Stadium. That's a 1:10 kickoff. And to be perfectly honest with you, a draw would suit us here, wouldn't it?
It would keep us off the bottom of the table if anything goes wrong against Sefton.
So what are we going to predict here? Because we can predict this one, can't we?
We are going to predict. Oh my God!
Yeah, for the first time ever.
It's like predicting whether a black hole's going to open up. We just know nothing at this point in time.
No.
For me, River have had a difficult opening couple of fixtures. They played Nalgo on August the 16th. That is never a particularly nice place to go. And then they followed that up with a home game against Daysbrook, which again they only narrowly lost by 2 goals to 1. And then they were the other team that lost to Joey Oars, again by 2 goals to 1. So they've been just on the other side of 1 goal defeats, whereas MSB Woolton Reserves have, they lost to Sefton Athletic 3-1. They lost to Waterloo Dock 4-2.
Well, they actually beat FC King Harry 2-1 on their opening game of the season.
Oh, so, that's interesting. So they lost to 3 points from that as well.
I'm going for a draw anyway.
I'm going to go for River Football Club.
Okie doke. Yeah. Joey Orzes versus Granby Toxteth Athletic.
Yeah.
I think just based on the way that they're doing at the moment.
Yeah, it's Joey Oars.
I'm going for
it?
Joey Oars.
I think they could be, between them and Nalgo, I think they could be a serious contender against us.
Oh, well, listen, I'd take nothing for granted. I think Sefton Athletic is going to be a really tough game, but as we can see there, the Grenadier as well at the top. But yeah, I'm going for Joey Oars. You're going for Joey Oars as well?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, Liver Academy versus Liverpool Nalgo. They've only got 1 point.
Liver Academy, yeah.
Well, I'm going to go for Nalgo.
They lost to the Grenadier couple of weeks ago, and then before that they drew with Halewood Apollo, so you'd be more inclined to say Nalgo on that day, wouldn't you? And then Daysbrook FC are hosting Halewood Apollo, so Halewood drew with Waterloo Dock on game number 1, and then they were beaten by Sefton Athletic. I'm
going for a Halewood Apollo victory here, because I was told at the very before the beginning of the season that they would possibly be one of the teams competing at the top. So I'm going to go for Halewood. I'm going to go draw. AJ goes for the draw. So that concludes the fixtures. Apart from no, it doesn't, does it? It's a lie. Waterloo Dock are at home to East Villa Rail.
Yeah.
I'm going for Waterloo Dock.
So East Villa Rail, have they even played a game?
Yeah, they played 2 and they've won 1, lost 1. And they've got 3 points to the name.
I mean, swipe me, that's a new one on me. Sure. I'm going to say... I'm going to say Waterloo Dock.
Yeah, I think they could be one of the surprise packages, because over the years, Waterloo Dock have been a really, really good, consistent football club. So yeah, I can see them being one of the teams that are going to shock a little bit. But
now, what about us?
Well, first of all, obviously, with having no game on Saturday, we decided to take up the offer of a friendly at Newborough Sports Club.
Yeah.
We were losing 2-0, managed to get it back to 2-2. To be fair, and I'm being honest and fair, there was a stage where maybe tactically we got things a little bit wrong, and Newborough could have took more advantage of that. I think the change of shape and the substitutions that were made helped us get back to a draw. We shouldn't be... No disrespect to Newborough, but we should be winning those kind of games. And I think, if Nick was sitting here talking to us now, he would agree with us. It wasn't the greatest of results, but then arguably, you're tinkering around a little bit. You've got 1 or 2. Not so much trialists, but players that have not featured a lot. You're giving them an opportunity to shine, and maybe they didn't. Then you end up with 1 or 2 injuries and players unavailable for various reasons.
Yeah, have we got a sort of relatively fit squad to choose from this
Well,
weekend?
I would normally be at training tonight.
Sorry.
I think but I would normally be at training tonight. On Tuesday, Eve was busy looking after 1 or 2 of the players. I think we'll be okay. I think we're relatively half decent in terms of fitness. Biggest problem was Barney. Barney's got problems with his hip and his groin, so he was getting sort of attention from the physio as well. And I believe today he's gone in for a scan to see what damage he's done. And then on top of that, Nick Matthews has sprained his ankle.
Oh, for God's sake!
I know, so you couldn't write it. The Crocs are the management team at the moment.
My God, that's fine. They'll just have to keep Sat down for this and let Neve and Josh do the orchestrating from the technical area.
I think what we do know is that what we've felt for a couple of weeks now is that there is some shape in that squad,
some
and
better unity, isn't there?
There's a bit of there's a few of the players that we've retained from Tommy's day, and they're shining a little bit as well. Joe Turner's doing exceptionally well. Joe Turner on the right. Henry Singleton is doing really well.
Toby Taylor.
Zach, they're doing really well, these players. So mixed up with the likes of Duan and
Jack,
and
Ray.
There's
the experience.
There's a bit of experience mixed intermingled with it there. So
brilliant.
The hope is that we can put our first points on the scoreboard
again.
Listen, the one thing we know about Sefton Athletic, if we beat them, I don't think they're going to abdicate.
No, I don't. But dangerous side, very, very dangerous side. I mean, we can tell that already by how how emphatically they put away Halewood, Apollo. That says plenty. And then the 3-1 win over MSB Woolton Reserves, again, not a team that we're going to take lightly by any stretch of the imagination at all. I mean, we know all these games are going to be difficult, but Sefton, I think, as I say earlier, between Sefton and Nalgo, those are the two. Those are our two kind of title contenders right now, or our two biggest tests, pardon me.
And we don't mention it much, but this home advantage that we've got playing in a magnificent National League North stadium. This, it'll be a pleasure and a pain, because what we do know is every team that comes to the Marine Travel Arena Stadium, they're going to be up for it.
Yeah, of course they are.
So it could be a nightmare for us, as well as a
blessing.
A blessing.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, we'll only find out tomorrow. But bearing in mind, we are unbeaten there. 1 game, 1 win.
Yeah, well, that's to be said, because we beat
Marine
11 23s, didn't we?
Marine 11.
Yeah. So an interesting one, which really sort of concludes the predictions and the fixtures for the weekend. Is there anything else we needed to discuss?
Not yet.
I think we've covered everything. Do you think we've been controversial enough? Is there any more we should add to the controversy? Sponsors? Yeah. Listen, we wanted to mention sponsors. We can't say too much at the moment because there's a press release in the making.
We're not going to give names.
We're not going to give names at the moment, but thankfully, due to social media, due to LinkedIn, and due to a group of people, friends and acquaintances that we've made over the last 2 years, we've managed to secure a front of shirt sponsor, 2 sleeve sponsors. We've retained TW Garners, which we can mention. We've managed to retain them.
Tracksuit sponsor as well.
Well, yeah, we can mention the tracksuit sponsor, because I think we mentioned them in the advert. The correct pronunciation of the company.
Bear with me. They are a pharmaceutical company, and I'll just get the name up for you now.
Yeah.
Because I can't mention it massively off the top of my head. It is.
And there's a pregnant pause.
Piedra de Seda Enterprises Limited.
Yeah. And listen, a great friend of the football club and former chairman of Bury, Marcel Dematas, has kindly agreed to become the tracksuit sponsor, and we're very, very privileged and honoured to have him on board.
Very grateful as well.
One of your friends as well. I think we can mention
Joe.
We can mention Joe. Joe will be at the game on Saturday.
So Joe runs a company called AdSpark, and he's very graciously agreed to come on board as our sleeve sponsor. as well. So again, very, very grateful to Joe for his time and his investment into the club. He's coming to the game against Sefton, where we hope to put on a show for him.
And you want to mention the newest of sponsors that we can mention?
Yeah. So the other sleeve sponsor is
and tracksuit polo shirts
and polo shirts as well. Yeah, they're covering both in that area. Is us. And I know that seems a little bit anticlimactic, but the Speaking Frankly Football Show is now sponsoring Skelmersdale United Football Club.
I'm very proud to be doing so.
Very proud to be doing so, absolutely. As you know, since the day that we started recording this podcast, we have used the podcast as a bit of a vehicle for all things Skelmersdale United, and it has reached a lot of fans in wider areas and made more friends for us than we could have possibly thought was viable. What we've now decided to do is just gauge some awareness for the club on the pitch as well by earmarking the logo, the podcast logo, on the sleeve of the shirts and the polo shirts. So you'll be seeing the emblazoned orange with the football in there on the sleeve if you look hard enough.
Are you a little bit excited?
Of course I am.
Yeah.
Sponsoring a football team.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to say too much because there is a press release being formulated at the moment, but our new main club sponsor is a significant name within the town. I'm extremely proud to have them on board.
Yeah.
And it's not just a sponsorship deal. This is a foot back into Skelmersdale.
It's a pledge, isn't it?
As well. This could grow arms and legs.
It really could.
And I'm really, really excited about the future for Skem and certainly the collaboration with our new main club sponsor. And hopefully I might have something to say on the show next week.
Yeah.
So listen, it's all very good, particularly after the dark moments of a couple of weeks ago when we were getting a fair amount of criticism from some keyboard warriors that were suggesting that we need to concentrate on off-the-field matters like we never have done before.
Well, yeah.
But shame on you.
Yeah, and it's come back to kind of bite you on the backside, really, hasn't it? And that's the thing that I've learned, really, is that no matter how much good news that you can find to offer people, they will always look at the bad news and focus on that as the stick to beat you with. Whereas we can say at this point that we've managed to retain a sponsor, been a sponsor ourselves, and found 3 very good external sponsors who have come on board to help steady the Skelmersdale United ship. So we are not going out of business anytime soon.
Great. Listen, so it leaves us to the final bits of the show where we discuss what we've learned so far this week. I'll leave that to you first of all, AJ, because I've got to think what I've learned this week.
Yeah, so as I've already said, I think, you know, for as much as what the positives that you can bring to a football club, and I'm obviously thinking about our situation, but in particularly sparing a thought for Lee Hill here, is that no matter what kind of goods you can bring to a football club, no matter your endeavours, however painstakingly, I think there will be people who will look at what you are failing to do and use that as the focus point to hurt you. And that's very disappointing, but it is kind of a steep learning curve for myself.
From my perspective, I mean, I remember having conversations with you over networking and you know, trying to entice sponsors to football clubs, and said that sometimes you have to play the long game. And I always used to say that I was a very, very lucky chairman first time round. But I guess really your luck is the work that you put in over the long haul rather than a short period of time. Sometimes you can be extremely lucky. Other times you've got to work really long and hard hours to get to that position. So from my perspective, where I've been feeling really down, and it's been extremely difficult, close season for me mentally and for the football club in terms of the finances. Patience. I keep mentioning this word, patience. patience goes a long way in football, and if you twitch too soon, you can soon lose the plot. And fortunately, I've got a group of people around me that sometimes remind me that sometimes you have to do things for yourself as well as the football club. And I've had the luxury of having people around me that have said to me, listen, Frank, do something for yourself right now because it'll benefit you in the long term. And with that, and with patience alongside it, we managed to get over a couple of the hurdles that we didn't expect to get over, particularly as it drew closer and closer to the season. So thank you to everybody that's been involved on and off the pitch, behind the scenes, and all those that are now taking up the opportunity of sponsoring the football club. I'm really, really looking forward to the collaboration with these people, because it's not just about the businesses, it's about the personalities as well. And I think we've attracted some really good personalities to the football club. So that's what I've learned this week. Patience, and it brings happiness. So listen, with that in mind, I'll leave the final words once again to those dulcet tones of AJ.
Not Barry White. You've been listening to the Speaking Frankly Football Show with me, AJ the Jet, and my co-host, Mr. Frank Hughes. This podcast will be released on most streaming services, wherever you get your podcasts, including Amazon Music and Spotify. Please rate and review, as we do thrive off hearing your feedback. Please also subscribe to us on these streaming services so that you can find out when the latest episode of the Speaking Frankly Football Show has been released. We are also available on social media services, most notably X and Facebook, under the banner Speaking Frankly Football Show. And so from the pair of us, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next week for the 10th episode of the second season of the Speaking Frankly Football Show. Until then, bye-bye for now.